The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Live tonight from the Myrtle Beach Speedway, LSRTV is happy to say good evening sim racing fans and welcome to our continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association on your home for sim racing and iRacing Live as we head into week 16 of this short track Wednesday night series, and we're happy that you're joining us once again at LSRTV. Topside with you as always, myself, Evan Pasoko, Austin Coop, and Chris Murdoch for the call, with our producer Cisco Scarabuzza downstairs twisting and tweaking the dials and bringing us to you this evening. And Coop, 5 different races on tap this evening, 4 different divisions in action. We will start right now and we will also end the night with a 25 flat mini stock event. There you are, double feature on the evening, but also 2 bigger races highlight tonight's calendar. We've got 60 lap main events for both the late models and the U cars coming up as well.
Yeah, of course, we're going to have the mini stock, like you just said, too. They're going to be the edges of tonight's race, the buns of the sandwich, if you might. And then you've got the legends that'll be next. They'll have a 25 lap, and then we've got the late model stock feature that we're pretty used to. But then we have a really long U-car race, which I'm pretty excited for. I don't know if any of you guys are getting in the car. Of course, I am. I mean, that's the longest that these guys have ever run, and there's been some long runs with these cars, but they've never gone that far, and so it'll be really fun to watch. And then we'll finish it off with another mini stock feature.
And the complexion of those U-car races, again, because we typically see about 25 laps in them or so, once you get spread out, again, the cars aren't moving that quick. So the amount of restarts in that race is, I think, going to be a big determining factor in just what kind of a race we see. But I think when you're basically doubling up the race distance on those, Chris, the U-cars might actually feel like a little bit more of a normal race tonight, just because you do have to be a little bit more precautious to be able to make it that distance.
You're exactly right. And, you know, with these races, these U-cars and, you know, the mini stocks, we've seen that these cars can really take a beating. You can be somewhat aggressive, but, you know, you still want to be precautious. And in this field that we're getting ready to see, we got a nice, healthy 10-car field just to get ready to do battle. So I expect them to take it a little bit easier and be more aware of their surroundings. But, I mean, these cars have proven to be able to take that beating. So we can definitely see some drivers get aggressive.
And the mini stocks, one of the more fun divisions. They are getting tonight's action kicked off. 25 laps now, and another 25 in maybe a little bit under 2 hours from now to wrap up week 16 of this Myrtle Beach Simulation Series as we get awfully close to crowning a couple of champions in the inaugural season of this championship. But that's still a couple of weeks down the line. The task at hand is ready to rock and roll. Cars are down, trackside. So let's sit down, enjoy them, and take a look at your LSRTV starting grid. Pole position for this one going to go to the 26 of Brandon Wilkinson with a 21.285 in a qualifying, besting the likes of Tommy Ryan, who will join him on the front row in second. Gabe Wood, who will start tonight in 3rd position. Ricky Harden is P4, and Randy Yoakum is 5th.
Starting in the 6th position tonight will be Matthew Tucker. Then you've got Jeremy Watkins 7th. David Messier starts 8th. And you have Jeff Ryan, and he'll start in the 9th position with Robert Runn. He'll start 11th.
So that's a look at how everybody is going to rack them and stack them for this one. Again, 25 laps in this mini stock division. Of course, running with the newer iteration of the MX-5 on the iRacing service. But I mentioned that we're getting a little bit closer and closer week by week to the championship in all of our series, really. And Chris, coming into this evening in the mini stock division, having plenty of races under our belts, and You know, you just kind of take a look at the last couple of weeks for the mini stocks, and a lot of guys finding results, the likes of Brandon Wilkinson, Tommy Ryan, and been finding victory lane. Ryan, though, I think still overall at the top of everything, but when it comes to the win category, that is. But Ricky Harden has been more consistent on a week-by-week basis. He leads the championship coming into tonight by 14 points. So his 1 win versus Tommy Ryan's 5. The consistency is what has Harden on top, and I feel like this one's going to go all the way down to the end.
And winning is all well and good, but we've always known that consistency is key here, Evan, and that's exactly what Ricky Harden is showing. And when you get down to the nitty-gritty of these final few races, you definitely want to be more consistent. Like Tommy Ryan has shown, wins don't always get you results, so definitely going to have to step up in the consistency factor for that 6 machine.
First of 5 races to take the green flag this evening. As always, we're happy that you're spending a Wednesday evening with us at LSRTV and iRacing Live. Pace cars down and in, field in the hands of Brandon Wilkinson. He wants to go back-to-back at many stocks. He starts from pole and takes the green flag. First time to turn number 1. Really no separation on the first couple of rows. Still 2 by 2 all the way back to the fight for P6, which means the battle for the race lead is still on. Ryan topside right there even with Wilkinson through 3 and 4, and maybe a small advantage for your pole sitter to lead lap 1.
Yeah, still side by side for these guys. They're really neck and neck, and this is a big pack we've got here, or really not to pack, but just those, they're really close together here, and still side by side for that lead. Ryan has still not gotten ahead, and Brandon Wilkinson still has not cleared him, but Gabe Wood still trying that bottom side against Ricky Harden, and they're still going at it. And then you've got Matthew Tucker behind them with Randy Yoakum. Those 6 drivers basically could almost throw them in the inside like a super speedway. But the number 4 of Randy Yoakum tries to pass the 50 or the 43 on the slide jump. It does not work out. I think these guys up front might be trying the same thing, but there goes Randy Yoakum to the outside wall.
And he's going to back it into the outside wall. That car never goes all the way around, and now I believe the caution flag is going to come out. They look like we might have been able to get away with it, but it was a hard hit for Randy Yoakum, and that car is not even going to be able to make it back around to pit road. You were watching that fight for 5th and 6th, and looked like the 43 machine just a little bit higher of an entry than what Yoakum was expecting. But when that car broke sideways, Chris, it did not slow down much on its way to the outside wall, and it was a big hit.
Yeah, it really was, Evan, and it looks like Randy Yoakum really didn't know that Tucker was going to be up that high, because you could see him entering up a lane higher than most people would going into 3, and when Randy Yoakum got down, it was kind of like a hip check effect when he got sent up, and luckily, or unluckily for Randy Yoakum, it was a really hard hit to the back end, and like you mentioned, didn't really make it all the way back around to the pit road, so unfortunate for that driver, as he's pretty much parked for this race here tonight.
If he really wants to, he could get that car back out on track once he serves, you know, the little bit of a time penalty that he has to take for taking that virtual tow. But I would see it quite difficult for Randy Yoakum to be able to make much points up in this race, and not the way you want your evening to start. The one benefit of when you got 5 different races is the fact that, well, if you wreck out in the first one, you don't have to wait a week to try to get some redemption, and I'm sure we will see Randy Yoakum shaking things up in what is still to come this evening. Already getting set, though, to go back to green flag racing conditions. Cone car was out that time. Drivers with the ability to select if they want to start on the inside or the outside line, and a front row is going to look exactly like it did 6 laps ago. Wilkinson on the inside, Tommy Ryan on the outside. These guys never did clear each other. We were side by side for the race lead the whole time. Let's see if the 6 machine can challenge just as good this time around. Green flag back in the air. Still 19 laps to go. In mini stock feature race number 1, Wilkinson the advantage, but again the 6 still there and applying the pressure.
You know, Tommy Ryan had a great start, and you're going to see the difference because he goes into turn 3 a little bit ahead of the 26, and I think Ryan's going to have it here if he can just keep having the momentum, but Wilkinson still on the bottom. Ryan was either able to get through the gears a little bit better or just had a better jump on the start. I'm not sure, but looking behind him, Ricky Harden is not letting any room between these 2 guys in front of him, and Wilkinson, oh, he grabs the wall, but he's able to not get in there. That's Ricky Harden for 3rd, and that's Gabe Wood going underneath him, but the battle's still for first. Looks like they made doorbang right here.
Oh, and two pieces of contact twice. They get into each other, and it definitely gets Wilkinson get it up into Tommy Ryan as he tries to move up the racetrack a little bit and get a better lineup off for the quarter. It's been Tommy Ryan who has led both times by the start-finish line since we went back into green flag conditions when they were side by side on that first stint. It was Wilkinson who was having the advantage, and it gets to 3/4 of a car length now. This is the biggest advantage Ryan's had all night. Clear for a moment. It's not going to be enough to get completely by Wilkinson, who gets a good counter out of turn number 2 and is right back in the thick of things.
Yeah, Wilkinson, you can start to see the frustration really setting in for that 26 machine because he's starting to make little slight contacts with that 6 machine. Meanwhile, just behind them, Ricky Harden and Gabe Wood doing battle after Harden got into the outside wall like Coop mentioned, but look at Wilkinson just in front of them. Almost clear the 6 machine, but Tommy Ryan gonna power back on the outside going into 3 and 4 and keep him honest, keep him even going through turn 4, but it looks like right now Wilkinson having the run off the corners.
Brandon Wilkinson has made limited starts in this mini stock division. I was talking about Ricky Harden, Tommy Ryan, the top guys in the championship. They run 2 and 3 on a racetrack at the moment, but as the 26 slides up and boxes out Ron for the race lead, he's in search of his second consecutive win. If he could do it, it would also be a second win in 2 starts. He's only started one of these things, and it was at Victory Lane where he finished last time out. So first time tonight, the top 3 single filing themselves. Tommy Ryan, though, to make sure that's short-lived. That 26 of Wilkinson opens up the inside, and now we've swapped out lanes in the battle for the race lead with Ryan this time at the inside.
Ricky Harden kind of wanted to go 3 wide, it looked there just for a moment, and actually it looks like Ricky and Tommy almost got together right there in the front straightaway, so those two got to be really careful because, well, if they come into contact, which Tommy goes up the track and hits Brandon just a tiny bit, if any of these guys come into contact, this is crazy. They are absolutely loose, wild, and they're hitting each other in such small amounts. I mean, just a little bit could happen. Here goes Gabe Wood to the bottom, making it 3 wide. This could be close. He's still sticking it down there. It's 3 wide for the lead. Here we go.
You talk about how you just got 2 by 2. They're running out of room. A lot of contact that time, and it's going to be Tommy Ryan going to the race lead. We saw a little bit of contact here and there. That was some of the hardest, but Wilkinson is not going to give up. He'll cross back over, go back to the inside on Ron, and we are still 3 wide for the race lead with Gabe Wood running over the curbs on the inside of the racetrack to get that car to rotate, and it's hard to call an advantage to anybody at 10 to go.
And Gabe Wood's really flirting with those rumble strips, Evan, going through 1 and 2, and we know how dangerous those can be, especially 3 wide, as they're still 3 wide through the corners. Ryan on top, Wilkinson in the middle, Gabe Wood on that bottom line, and I'm surprised that they're able to hold it this long. Nobody wants to give an inch. We've seen a whole lot of contact, a whole lot of fast-paced racing. It looks like Tommy Ryan's going to get left out and almost make contact with the wall, so that's going to leave him 2 by 2 for the lead between Wilkinson and Wood.
Gabe Wood kind of snuck up into this thing out of nowhere. He started 3rd, but with that early yellow flag, just happened to be behind Ricky Harden, who started 4th behind him. That swapped those guys out, and we saw the 15 challenging from 3rd for quite some time, but once those guys up front started to mix it up a little bit, the 00 came out of nowhere, drove it in hard to the inside, and he has not left the bottom of the racetrack since then, has yet to have the nose in front at the start-finish line and lead one of these laps. But Gabe Wood put it himself in a competent position, if you will, down on the inside of the racetrack, as we say side by side, 2 rows deep in a battle for 1st through 4th, and these guys still not shying away for the bumpers.
And if anything, I think Ricky Harden has kind of felt he's nowhere to go as Tommy's trying to the very outside of the track. He's there, 3 wide again, and Ricky's going to try and make it 4 wide. No, don't do that, man. Oh my gosh. That was close. Yeah, he thought about it, and I think Gabe's might have given up on trying the 3 wide situation, but he's giving him a bump here. Still 3 wide now for what would be just the they're just going everywhere, man. This is crazy.
But you can see the 00 there. He moved up, loosened Wilkinson up. It looked like that the 26 had a big run, and it might have been able to clear Gabe Wood. And all of a sudden, 00 roughs him up a little bit, slows his momentum down. And can he get it at the line? I think he'll just be shy to the tune of 1/100th of a second. And more contact,
there it is.
and that's going to do it. Gabe Wood sideways, and he'll go up the hill. A miraculous save.
Oh, they're crashing.
And now they're
huge
wrecking with
wreck.
the race leaders.
A huge wreck. It looks like Wilkinson had a little, or not Wilkinson, it looks like Harden had a tough time getting it back under control going through there. Maybe just didn't even see Tommy Ryan coming out of the corner, but he went to track out all the way up, met that left rear of the 6 machine, and they went hard into the inside wall. Evan, that was a hard crash that's going to put them both out. I had a feeling it was all going to implode.
When I was watching Gabe Wood, and he was able to hang on to it, but Wilkinson got knocked down the racetrack, and he was on that lower line. I just don't think that the driver in front of him, Tommy Ryan, saw him, and he went to make a crossover and just cut down on the 15 machine, and both of those drivers end up into the inside wall, and that's big because Tommy Ryan and Ricky Harden, as I've said a couple of times, came into tonight 1 and 2 in the championship. Now, the next closest driver, third in the points, is Matthew Tucker. Now, Tucker is up to P2 in this race now behind Wilkinson, but he's working at a 68-point deficit. So with this late in the season, Coop, I would be pretty surprised, to say the least, if Tucker's going to be able to pull that one out. So for the top 2 in the championship, they're not really going to lose or gain anything on one another because they both going to get kicked to the back of the pack. Yeah, Tucker's going to pick up some here. I don't think it changes a whole lot in the overall championship picture. It just keeps these guys about even going to next week.
Yeah, to give an update, they are going to go green this time by to try and get 2 laps of green flag racing. So Brandon Wilkinson will start these guys, but yeah, the cautions are out pretty quick here because they want to get the green flag action underway. And 3 red cars, Wilkinson, Tucker, and Messier, they're going to start this last restart.
His car off and in. Let's see how this one wraps up. It's been a great race so far tonight. 2 laps to go to settle it out. Brandon Wilkinson out in front. And the first time, I think he's actually single 5 for the race lead. He'll pull 2 car lengths at a 2.
Going through 2, he's going to have a great gap going through behind Matthew Tucker, just behind them. Robert Run and David Messier are going to go through the corners side by side. But as for Brandon Wilkinson, he sees the white flag in the air. 1 more lap to go.
And you would expect that green and white checker to be the most nail-biting part of the race, but it has been the best takeoff for Brandon Wilkinson. He's got a 4-car length advantage. Matthew Tucker is not going to force the issue in turn number 3, and Wilkinson is going to keep the streak on going at a turn number 4, checkered flag, and the win to Brandon Wilkinson. 2nd win in as many starts in the mini stock division.
Yeah, back-to-back for him and is a great thing, and I think for him this is pretty pivotal. You know, he gets some momentum in the other series, but we were talking about that big little cluster that they were for so long, and Brandon was ahead of that, and I think the advantage was the fact that he was kind of ahead of it. You know, he didn't have to worry about the guys behind him really making contact. He had to worry about the side guys beside him. And once they started going 4 wide, we just saw that there's the small inaccuracies that these guys were having. I mean, you turn the wheel just a little bit too much, and these things are just out of hand. So these guys were handling these cars so well for so long, and you could tell that they were just losing it as the tires got away from them, and at a track that's so rough on the tires, and being in the daytime, I think was to be expected. But that was probably the best race we saw in this division.
It was a fun one top to bottom, and unfortunately that wreck we saw in turn 2 took out the majority of the 4-car battle we were watching up front. The only one who was left was Brandon Wilkinson, and he looked pretty comfortable in that 2-lap dash down to the end, and he's got that car parked down in victory lane. We'll see if we can get a word with him in just a moment. Before we do, let's take a look top to bottom and a look at our LSRTV full race results for tonight's mini stock division to feature race number 1 of 2 on the evening. Brandon Wilkinson goes pole to checkers, was hotly contested over the course of the 25-lap main event, but ends up on top. It's his 2nd win in this division consecutively. Matthew Tucker, 3rd in the points, picks up a good bit tonight, comes home in 2nd spot. But how about Robert Run? Not sure we talked about him at all during the race. Quietly moves from 14th to 3rd, plus 11, makes him the biggest mover on the evening. Just behind them, David Messier ends up at 4th, and Jeff Bryan good enough to limp home in P5.
6th.
Yeah, coming home.
And that 0-0 of Gabe Wood. 7th goes to Ricky Harden. 8th going to be Tommy Ryan after some late race contact. 9th, Jeremy Watkins. 4th goes to Randy Oakham. What a race to open up the night.
We look top to bottom at your full race results. Let's head down trackside and get a word with the driver of the number 26 machine. Brandon Wilkinson is your race winner tonight for the Myrtle Beach Speedway. He wins at mini stock feature race number 1 and 2, and we're down trackside with the driver of the 26. Brandon, congratulations on the win. Last time you hopped in these cars, we were telling you the exact same thing. 2 for 2 is a pretty good record.
Yeah, this one is definitely a lot harder. I'm still a little speechless about that race. You know, congratulations to Gabriel Wood, Ricky Harden, Tommy Ryan. I think we just put on the best show over all the divisions all season long. So thanks to those guys for running me clean and hard. And that was a damn good race.
I think the most anticlimactic restart, as we said, was that right at 2 laps to go, because those guys ended up getting caught up in an incident and you were kind of the last one standing. But before that, I mean, it was side by side nonstop. You had to play some good defense, got passed up, and then there was a crossover once more. So there was really at no point in this race that you could kind of let your guard down. And we saw you guys, I mean, you weren't, you know, hip checking guys out of the way and wrecking each other, but we did see in the quarter, you know, you push up a little bit, you give a guy a rub, you get him on the quarter panel on the straightaway to kind of bring him back to you. How are you guys with that gamesmanship there, trying to keep things tight?
Well, you know, we've raced each other all season, whether it's the late models, the trucks, legends, or whatever. We kind of know, you know, how everybody else is going to drive, and we try to use that against them, but we try and use that to their advantage as well to put on shows like this. You know, like you said, we were rubbing, we were banging, but, you know, nobody went around, you know, obviously besides the end there. And, yeah, you know, we had some good crossovers. I had a good ear, or a good guy in my ear there. Blake Neer did a good job. This is his first time really spotting for me. He did an awesome job tonight. So, yeah, I just can't thank them enough. And it was just an awesome race. I was totally speechless right now.
Obviously, the point we brought up with you last time we cut up at Victory Lane was the fact that you obviously not being able to compete for the points title in this mini stock division, but you went head to head with the guys like Ricky Harden and Tommy Ryan, who have an overwhelming lead in the championship, and you're 2 for 2 against those guys. But I think more specifically just tonight, having literally gone toe to toe with them and coming out on top, what kind of a message you're hoping that sends?
Well, you know, the first one was a little cheap. You know, I hadn't won a race in a couple weeks, and I was just trying to get one any way I could. But, you know, that sends, I guess, you know, a message that they're not alone. But, you know, that takes nothing away from those guys. They've had one hell of a season. They're 2 hell of a drivers. You see in every single division, the trucks, especially the late models. You know, Tommy's come so close all season, and him and Ricky are going to get one at some point.
We'll let you take off. We've got plenty of racing to come this evening. Before we do, Brandon, sponsors or the shout-outs, anybody want to say hi to while we got you?
Yeah, perfect. I want to congratulate my team last night on Pro 1-2, Casey Kerwin and Colton Davis, everybody at Dead Zone Racing, Scott Eckers Chassis, P-Money Designs did this paint scheme. We don't have our sponsors on it, but shout out to him, Kirkwood Transportation Services, Blake Neer for spotting, and James Milbacher for being a good friend.
Mini stock race, what a winner tonight, Brandon. We appreciate the time. Congratulations. And there's another one of these due up later on this evening. Best of luck going 3 for 3.
See you then.
That is your race winner tonight from Myrtle Beach Speedway. 1 down, still 4 races to go. The mini stocks will return at the end of the evening. In the meantime, Legends are headed down trackside, and we are going to catch up with them next. We'll take a quick opportunity, though, to step aside and drop the green flag when we come back to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You're watching LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association on your home for sim racing and iRacing Live. Legends go at it when we come back.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tires. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
And welcome back live to the Myrtle Beach Speedway as the Legends Division gets set to go trackside. It'll be the 4th week in a row that we have seen the Legends Division. That'll be the longest consecutive streak we have seen all season long, as they as well get close to wrapping up their championship. If you're just jumping in with us, Brandon Wilkinson is our first winner on the evening. He took on the mini stock win just prior to this one as well in a 25-lap main event, which is what we're going to be looking at here with the Legends. He will have an opportunity to go 2 for 2 on the night for the mini stocks later on. But the Legends Division comes up next, guys, and we talk about the championship in these ones. One of the more balanced divisions when it comes to the spread of wins. Christian Peterson is our championship leader in the Legends Division, coming into tonight by 28 points over Brandon Wilkinson. Peterson with 3 wins, Wilkinson with 1, but the likes of Will Dravicki and Matt Conker and Tommy Ron, all names that have found victory lane in the Legends cars. Most of the series, it's a group of maybe 2 or 3 guys, but these Legends, and including the mini stocks just prior to this, some of the most diverse sets of winners we've seen of anybody, so it's pretty difficult to kind of pinpoint who's going to dominate this one.
Yeah, in the standings, you've got Christian Peterson and Brandon Wilkinson at the top, 28 points apart from each other. And those two are realistically the guys we're going to keep watching, just because of the fact that the other guy behind them is 74 points back from Peterson, and 84, then a large 131. So really, a lot of these guys are going to be trying to, I think, just have a good fun race and get to the end of it, and enjoy the whole thing there. But whenever you get those two in this field, basically in the next couple of races, we'll kind of know if Christian Peterson's able to run away with it. One of the big things is we got one of the biggest fields I think we've ever had in this Legends division. Looks like about 18 cars. That's I think ties it.
And it's about half of the guys overall who have any points in the series all season long. Let's introduce you to them and look top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid for the Legends for week number 16. Randy Yoakum is going to start this one from pole position. It's that black peak entry on the inside of the front row that'll be accompanied with the 73 of Brian Simpson rolling off in P2. Jeremy Watkins and Brandon Wilkinson going to make up row 2. They start in 3rd and 4th respectively, with Tommy Ryan rounding through the top 5.
Starting in the 6th position will be Paul Henley, and you've got Matthew Tucker starting 7th. David Messier will start from the 8th position with Ryan Kuhn 9th and CJ Mason 10th.
Gabe Wood going to go back through to 11th. James Milbacher going to be 12th. Blake Neer going to round off 13th. Will Dravicki 14th. 15th goes to that 23 of Christian Peterson. Just behind him to his outside going to be that 69 machine of Matt Cucker. Joshua King 17th, rounding out your 18-car field. That's Kyle Overall.
That'll be looked top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid. Again, 25 laps on board. Not a lot of time in these Legends cars. They like to zip around this racetrack, but again, it is the distance at which these guys are used to running this year, and this will be the 8th start for the Legends again this season, a 4th in a row. Always fun getting these guys out onto the racetrack as they head into their final 2 or 3 weeks of competition on the season. Curious things to watch for in this one, as we've noted, it is a big car count. How does that affect the green flag racing if things get a little bit chaotic mid-pack and wants to battle up front early, as Randy Yoakum wants to run away with this one. The pace car's down and in. The 4 car has to go on the drop of the green flag, makes it difficult to get a big advantage right out of the gate. On the initial start of the race, Brian Simpson alongside him with the green flag in the air, and they'll be side by side of the line.
You're watching them going side by side, 3 wide for a moment here as the 73 goes way up the track. That's Brian Simpson, I think, having a connection issue, trying to get out of the way. But we still have 3 wide in the middle of this pack, but the lead is what I'm looking at. Looks like the 26 and the 4, Randy Yoakum right there on the outside, and he's got a lot of new gear on his setup, I think, right now, so it's definitely helping him out. But this big pack of cars behind him is a maelstrom of excitingness, and I'd be concerned if I was in the middle of that. I'd want to get away.
Yeah, and that's what you expect to find. Top 2 stretching it out. We're 3 wide now with the 90 car up top. 4 wide. No, that's not going to work. The 6 of Tommy Ryan. He's into the grass. And that is just the start. There goes the whole field.
Yeah, crazy wreck going through. Just not enough room for that to work. And then the 6 of Tommy Ryan got, hooked by the 43 of Matt Tucker into that 58 machine of David Messier. And then David just goes hard up into the wall and collects a whole bunch of people up and over some cars. So really hard wreck on the front straightaway.
And the 2 wide was a little bit dicey enough, and then the 43 machine got sideways. We went 4 wide, and once that 6 got turned sideways, that was it. The 58 comes back up, and you got that 43 car of Tucker up into the air, and that's a good number of cars getting absolutely destroyed, and that may just be a very quick answer to our question on how the car count's going to affect things.
And that rivals, or that not only rivals, but that completely trumps the jump that Gabe Wood had. You'll definitely see in the broadcast, I had to compose myself there for a second because I just could not believe how much air he got there. And sadly, when he came back down, probably broke the axle. That'll be like the 2nd or 3rd broken axle we've already seen this evening. But under the pace car once again, and already looking at Gabe's car, making sure he didn't jump on anything. I think he's fine for now. But yeah, a lot of guys just got taken out in that big, massive wreck, and that was, I think, just a product of a lot of cars, but everyone coming up the track too.
We slow things down early, and you think that might affect the way that these guys race this one out. Obviously, for the guys up front, I don't think that Brandon Wilkinson is going to have many complaints because he went from 4th to 1st. And then, obviously, we did so. Oh, tight close there with the Coke car. He went 4th to 1st, but Randy Yoakum was all over the back bumper trying to get back down to his inside. So as we select our lanes here, this is probably not going to be the worst of ways this could work out for Wilkinson, simply because of the fact that now he'll have an opportunity to control the restart a lot better than obviously what Yoakum had on the initial start of this race. And like we did see with the top 2, trying to get away from what I'm certain is to be a logjam at about row 2 and 3, where I'm sure we might see some more 3-4 wide action. Pace cars off and in. Brandon Wilkinson's going to restart this race as we come into turn number 4, and there's the advantage he gets. 3 car lengths already to turn 1.
Yeah, I'm already seeing a big stack up on the bottom lane right here, and looks like they're starting to get pretty spread out. Christian Peterson's trying to navigate his way through the field. He made it cleanly through that last accident. He's going to try and get around the number 30, which appears to be Will Dravicki right here, and he's going to go up the track. So Peterson trying to navigate his way to 4th and continue on, but looks like they're still going side by side. 3 wide. It looks like Gabe Wood's going to make contact, and he's going to spin the 16 of Paul Henley.
So
they keep going, actually.
Yeah, so far no caution. Those guys are able to figure everything out. Henley did get about 45 degrees sideways. They hung on to it. It's going to cost them a couple of spots, but no actual accident, so no yellow, and we stay green. Mid-pack, though, is still where all the fun is, and the fight for 3rd on back. Randy Yoakum is going to lose his spot to Christian Peterson, who silently has come from 15th to now 3rd in his charge at the front of the field. That's your championship leader.
Yeah, Peterson has done a lot of good work as now Yoakum's going to get sideways out behind him, going to spin into the grass, no caution, but huge upset for Randy Yoakum right there as we look up towards the front too, as everything is pretty much single filed out. For the most part, spread out throughout your top 10 or top 5 at least. Brandon Wilkinson on a great tear, as well as now Ryan Kuhn still catching up and trying to reel that 26 machine in.
And you get a second look at that one. Yoakum just sideways. Zolan is lonesome. Goes around. Single car accident off for the racing surface. No need to check things up, but we keep on pedaling towards the end of this race. Just shy of halfway, and as I say that, caution flag is out on the racetrack at lap number 11.
Yeah, watching James Milmockler, he got in the outside wall and spun the thing around. We've seen that multiple times here at the Speedway. And one thing he actually did right there is I think he Alt-F forward, which is something you're not typically supposed to do, but he did it in the best interest of the rest of the field, so his car just disappeared, in other words. And so Kyle had waved the caution thinking that he was going to come back down. Sadly, he got it taken care of, but I do believe that the cone is going to come right back out as the caution is going to be cleared up pretty quick.
Yeah, you don't have to take a whole lot of time for, damaged cars to limp themselves back around. The only car involved in the accident is already taking that virtual tow back to the pit lane, so we are able to double everybody back up and decide which lanes we were going to take, and we will restart this time by keep an eye on Christian Peterson. He's got a 15th to 3rd, but even the guys behind him, Will Trevicki from 14th, Blake Neer from 13th, a lot of big movers close it in on Wilkinson and Ryan Kuhn, who are side by side on the front row. Green flag back in the air, not as good of a restart as Wilkinson that he had last time. He's got a lot of traffic all over him as Peterson to the inside of the 27 for second.
Yeah, Peterson on the bottom of the track right underneath Ryan Kuhn, who we have not seen that often. Another wreck behind him. Someone's going around. I don't know who that is. The 14 and another big accident. Gabe Wood's in it.
Starts with Blake Neer in 4th position. The 30 made a crossover to the inside of the racetrack. That was Will Trevicki going for 4th, and Blake Neer just did not see him or thought that the 30 was just flashing a nose, that it came down and chopped the nose off of that car on his inside. And the problem was when then the 14 machine actually, I don't know if he ever got hit by anybody else, but it was everybody trying to avoid him that creates another pile with the 35, the 58, the 91 airborne into the outside wall, and about 5-6 cars all get involved in Blake Neer's mess without even touching him.
Yeah, and that's going to be the 16 of Paul Henley going to take it airborne there, Evan, and it's really hard to see because he really just ramps off that 35 of King and just wheelies up in the outside wall, so very hard hit for those guys, but caution out here once again is more people involved in 3 and 4.
And this yellow going to be a tad bit longer because we've got to get cars cleaned up at a racetrack and cycle everybody back around to get into their correct running position. We are inside of the final 10 laps to go here tonight from the Myrtle Beach Speedway with looks like lap 16 of 25 now going to drop behind us. But I was talking about those movers, and well, a lot of them just got involved in an accident, but the point remains for Peterson 3rd, Trevicki 4th, and Leveralt in 5th. They started 15th, 14th, and 18th respectively. Those guys started well behind where all of the attrition has happened up inside of the top 10, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a position to maybe play for the win.
Yeah, I think that the number 7 of Kyle Leveralt's got to be really looking at this as being a big opportunity. I don't think he qualifies, so he starts at the back typically pretty often, and this will be a big improvement for him on the night. Of course, it doesn't really help him in the standings, but it'll definitely be good for him to be in the top 5, and Will Trevicki, and then of course Peterson is someone we expect to really get through the field like that.
Everybody decides which lanes they want to run in that time by, and nobody really shaking things up too much. Wilkinson, Kuhn, Peterson, Trevicki inside and out as you would expect. No changes as far as what you would typically see in a running order on the top 4 rows. Pace car down and in. Is this going to be one of the final opportunities we get to go back into green flag racing conditions? Going to be 7 laps to go. Wilkinson needs a better restart than he had last time. He needs to get as far away from the 23 as he can. A little bit better as he's clear by the line.
there were games on that restart there, Evan, with the 26 and the 27 hitting, and I think Brandon Wilkinson knew he needed some room. Looks like the one on the bottom is not going to be a factor, but he's going to have to hold off Christian Peterson right here. And Peterson actually has a challenge on the outside, perhaps, on the 27 of Brandon Kuhn, and he's going to lose it. That might be it for him on his bid to win this race, and he's going to be really having some guys behind him. He got really loose out of that corner.
And Peterson got sideways, and all of a sudden Ryan Kuhn is back into P2, and that could be very good for Wilkinson. Not to take anything away from the 27 of Ryan Kuhn, but you know, to think there's a definite difference between having the championship leader and somebody else on your back bumper. Kuhn has looked fast tonight, wants to challenge for the race lead. Again, Wilkinson is trying to make up what was into tonight a 28-point deficit to Peterson in the championship, and Peterson still third, going to be a good points night, and it is going to limit the damage, but Wilkinson is doing what he needs to do, looking to get his second win in these cars on the year. He just got a second mini stock win earlier, hoping to continue that trend.
Yeah, but he's under fire right now from the 27 of Ryan Kuhn, and just behind him, the 23 of Christian Peterson. And we've seen Christian Peterson do stranger things than go and lose it and come back and win. So I'm definitely not going to count that 23 machine out here just yet, as we get 3 laps to go this time. So very, very close battle here for the lead. As you look at Peterson get right up on the back end of Ryan Kuhn, and he's there. He's waiting for his move as Kuhn's trying to figure out which lane he wants to go, but that's only going to slow that 27 down.
He looked inside, he looked outside. Going to be 2 laps to go this time by, and Kuhn's feeling the pressure because if he's not making a move, Christian Peterson's going to make a move to get around him, and there it is, the 23 to the inside. He wants second and the race lead as he tries to force it sideways into turn 2, and there goes Kuhn, who spins in turn number 3. No yellow, race leaders to continue. White flag this time by, and Peterson is only a car length off of the back bumper. These Legends cars have those bars on the front to the back end. Do we see the Chrome Horde amongst the championship leaders for the final time in 3 and 4? Wilkinson trying to hang on. He'll take a shot, and there he goes. Brendan Wilkinson around, and Christian Peterson to victory lane.
Oh my goodness, that was I feel like that was really uncharacteristic of Peterson to just go in there like that, and well, that what looked like to me just took him out. I don't think there's very many ways to say that. Really uncharacteristic of him to do that, but I think that's indeed what we just saw, is he just planted him out. And so I think race control is gonna have to see what goes on there and see if they have to take something into consideration. But I think the 30 of Will Dravicki will actually go to victory lane here.
And race control says that will be a penalty towards Christian Peterson. And the race win in this one is going to go to Will Dravicki, and he hit him pretty hard, but I think it wasn't, Chris, anything malicious. I think he just kind of waited. He didn't go after him in 1 and 2 because he knew that if he was going to, hit him in 1 and 2, you're only giving that guy an opportunity to get you back at the other end of the racetrack. So he only had 1 shot at it. He didn't want to, not hit him hard enough, and I think he kind of overestimated the amount of a shot that these Legends cars could take. Again, they can take a shot like that and keep on going, and that time when you take the guy out, I think you have to expect that you're going to get a penalty from it. And out of all of that excitement, Kuhn doesn't end up with a win, Peterson doesn't end up with a win, nor does obviously the driver that he sent for a little bit of a ride there in Brandon Wilkinson. It's going to be Will Dravicki going to victory lane.
Yeah, talk about right place, right time for Will Dravicki just to be there at the end and, capture that win. As for Peterson, my jaw literally dropped watching him drive it all the way down into that corner and, just hit Wilkinson as hard as he did. I like Coop said, it's really uncharacteristic. And like you said, I don't think he did it on purpose. He just underestimated the amount of power he had.
Gave him a shot. Let's take a look at what the scoring to pylon shows. Should obviously note that this is going to be unofficial results. And I'm sure a lot of these drivers are going to be shuffled around and where they actually end up finishing. But Christian Peterson comes across the start-finish line first. A penalty is going to keep him out of victory lane. Again, that is unofficial, and therefore your unofficial winner is Will Dravicki. If anything changes, we will let you know. Tommy Rahn ends up in 3rd position for this one. Kyle Everalt is 4th. Matt Cucker quiet in this one. Does go plus 11 to P5. 6
is going to go to Gabe Wood. 7th to Jeremy Watkins. 8 goes to David Messi in 9th, CJ Mason 10th to Blake Muir.
11th position is where Ryan Kuhn ends up, but it's all said and done. Brandon Wilkinson as well finishes in 12th position. Final driver on the lead lap, 13th spot for Brian Simpson with Randy Yoakum 14th and James Milbachler in 15th spot. You've also got Paul Hensley 16th and Joshua King in 17th position. That's a look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. So let's go down trackside and chat with, again, your unofficial race winner tonight in our Legends Division main event. Will Dravicki is going to be credited with the checkered flag in this one. Will, congratulations on the win. If things remain as they sit, it'll be the first win for you guys the second win, I should say, for you guys in these Legends. And you had a front row seat of everything that was going on in front of you, but I don't think you thought it would end the way it did.
Yeah, Christian or Brandon there definitely deserved the win there. They were racing hard up front. I did have a good seat for the show, though.
Tell us about what you saw those guys do. We had a very large car count and a couple of big incidents at the very start of this one, which definitely shook up the running order, but it sounded like that group of about 3 or 4 guys, they just really couldn't get off of each other, and you were sitting there behind in 4th position, really, with about 3 laps to go. At that point, were you thinking that, hey, they're really aggressive and they're going to wreck each other, or at that point, did you just kind of feel like, all right, it's going to be a P4 and it'll be a good points night for us? What was going through your mind there when you saw those guys fighting, and obviously at the very end there when you see Peterson take the guy out, and next thing you know, race control radio's down that car's going to victory lane?
Hey, that's why we run the races, right? Sometimes you just get fortunate and get lucky. They were racing really hard. Top 3 definitely had faster cars than me tonight, but you keep running, you never know what's going to happen. That's why we run the races. Sometimes you get lucky. Definitely didn't deserve this one, but hey, I'm not going to say no.
It'll help you out, obviously, in the championship. It is quite a climb to make up, the gap to Brandon and Christian up in front of you. But you guys come into tonight 3rd of the points. This is obviously a series in which you guys are really good at. It's going to be your 5th top 5 in 6 starts, and obviously your 2nd win on the season. So I think there is a case to be made that if you're out there and you're just in the thick of things, sometimes if something like this happens, it's all that hard racing that you very much earned yourself to be in a position to take advantage of this one. So what's going to be the objective for these Legends cars going forward, kind of building off some of this momentum and maybe looking for win number 3?
Just keep doing what we're doing, plugging away, talking to the guys throughout the leagues, try to get a little tips here and there. Working with my teammates, Paul Henley at 09, we're chipping away at, trying to find time here and there, whatever way you can. Fortunately, we've had a lot of success in these cars, so just want to keep that streak rolling.
Well, this was a fun one for us, and I'm sure you enjoyed the way it wrapped up. We'll let you get out of here before we do, Will, the sponsors and the shout-outs. Anybody you want to say hi to? Yeah,
I definitely want to, first of all, thank my wife. Nothing is possible without her. 09 Motorsports, Paul Henley, my teammate. Pabst Blue Ribbon for the sponsor, and just this week we had a couple new sponsors come on board. It's really exciting. Croak and Toads Raceway up in Dundee, New York, and then Turn 5 Live, you can catch them on Tuesday nights at 7:30 on PMN Network.
We appreciate the time, Will, and for your sake, I hope the result holds. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck for the rest of the evening as well.
Hey, thanks, Evan. Hope to see you again sometime.
The race winner tonight in the Legends, 2 down, 3 to go. Will Dravicki ends up on top of the mountain when it's all said and done, and he gets his 2nd Legends Division win of the season. If anything changes post-race, we'll let you know, but it should be an easy result to hold for the driver of the number 30 car. So we march on, and we've got some 60-lap features coming up. First, the late model stocks, the premier division. The Myrtle Beach Simulation Series is headed trackside next. You're watching LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Hi, I'm Ryan Priest. I'm driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past few weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds. Punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates, so it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona, so that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different, and the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about, and then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey man, you need to switch over to this, and when I did, I was like, oh my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol, and then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps, and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
And welcome back live to the Myrtle Beach Speedway as the sun has gone down and the lights have come on for the second half of tonight's coverage of Week 16 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association as the late model stocks get set to go racing. And as always, coverage of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series Late Model Championship is brought to you by our friends of Blue Ridge Napa, Fort Chiswell, Virginia. Napa is your trusted source for automotive parts, accessories, and know-how for your car, truck, or SUV. Shop online for original OEM and replacement parts today at www.napaonline.com. With the first race under the lights this evening, the late models get set to go racing for 60 laps, and coming into tonight, it has been all Matt Cucker in the championship. His 7 wins is a series high. Not a whole lot, though, on top of Christian Peterson, who's got 5 in his own right, but a 65-point difference between first and second in the championship as Cucker in the catbird seat cooping in the closing weeks.
Yeah, and looking at that points lead, it's a pretty decent size. It's going to be really difficult, I think, for these guys behind to try and take advantage of that. Try and change the outcome of what it is now. You have to beat him, and you've got to beat him by a lot. And in order for him to lose points on you, he's got to really have a bad night. Considering that, he's got to fall way past. Basically, he's got to wreck out in the next 2 races to even have like a sizable difference in points, just because these guys are almost always towards the top. So really, that's going to be the biggest thing for these guys here. It's just getting to the end of the season, and for those guys really close in points, getting those and locking them up.
And as we take a look at the starting grid, neither of those 2 drivers going to be starting inside of the first 4 rows. It'll be fun watching them try to work their way through the field. Here's how we rack them and stack them, though, for tonight's 60-lap late model stock main event. Jeff Ryan is on pole position. He's in that number 24 machine up at the very front of the field. He's immediately trailed by Ricky Harden, who will be outside of the front row in second. Jeremy Watkins going to be starting this one in 3rd position. He's joined by Brandon Wilkinson. Wilkinson is 3rd overall in the Blue Ridge Napa late model points and has a little bit of an opportunity to catch up to Peterson at a 10-point deficit. He starts in front of him P4, and Randy Yoakum rounds out your top 5.
Starting 6 will be Jeremy Adams and Jacob Porter. He's had some good races here in the recent past, and so he'll start 7th. Tommy Ryan as well starts 8th. Then you've got Gabe Wood starting 9th with Matt Cucker starting 10th. Robbie Bundin will start 11th to start the rest of the field.
12th will go to Christian Peterson, Will Vivicki, 17th Kyle Level, 14th, 15th goes to Rory Blum.
It's going to be the longest race on the evening. Of course, we're also going to see 60 laps immediately after this one at our longest U-Cars division feature race of the season. And then as well, that'll be wrapped up with another 25-lap mini stock main event when all of that is said and done. But you got a long way to go into late model stocks. Looks like pole sitter Jeff Ryan going to be forced to the back of the pack. He gets an end of the longest line penalty for posting a time in the warm-up session, which in this session is not allowed. They have practice and qualifying opportunities prior to when the cameras turn on. So a tough break for Jeff Ryan. He's going to go to the back, and then all of a sudden, thanks Jeremy Watkins, your control car as the pace car heads down and in. Let's see how this affects things up front as we get set to go racing 60 laps a long way from home. To keep the cars in one piece if you want a shot at the win when we get down to maybe 20 or 15 left on the clock. The American Ethanol green flag flies though, and it'll be a better up top side. Ricky Harden advantage at the line as he tries to clear in the 4 car, and Yoakum completely missed the corner, and chaos back on row 2.
Somehow get it all gathered up because now they're... Oh, maybe not. Gabe Wood takes the slide. I think that's Jeremy Adams, but caution's going to come out, I think, prematurely here as they will get that caution flag here.
Yeah, the double O machine was on the inside, and it was a little bit of a late charge to the inside of Jeremy Adams. Adams got sideways, and he did a good job of saving it, but at that point, yellow flag did already come out from the tower, and very hectic. First 0.54 miles around this Myrtle Beach Speedway has us slowed down very quickly with Ricky Harden all of a sudden as your race leader.
Yeah, just a crazy start. I think the whole caution and contact really all stems back to Randy Yoakum. Just not sure what happened there with the 4 car, but it just didn't look like he was turning for the corner. Went all the way up to 3 lanes, so interesting out of that 4 machine. Nothing really changing up front except for, well, yeah, a lot changing up front actually. Ricky Harden going to take the lead. Wilkinson going to be second. Your control car Watkins going to go all the way back to 3rd.
And obviously pole sitter Jeff Ryan 13th now, which is why a lot of guys get shuffled up a row or 2. Porter was a big winner in all of that. He went from 4th, or rather from 7th on the grid, but up to 4th because essentially 7th became 5th. We will see how possibly being on the outside for the next restart affects him at all, with everybody seeming to want to flock down to the inside ASAP. He is one of your bigger movers at +3 positions. +3 for Gabe Wood as well, who had the advantage of being able to move up a lane on the restart in addition to picking up a single spot. But Randy Yoakum's going to come down pit road under the yellow, give up P5, which will do a little bit more shaking things around.
Yeah, it does. Shakes a little things up. Not really sure why Yoakum's taking it down pit road. Maybe just to go to the back and regather his thoughts. But, you know, Cone car had come out. Everybody's going to be too wide for the most part. Wilkinson going to assume the top. Watkins on the bottom. Harden going to be your leader. Going to see if they can get it a little bit more under control here, Evan, as we get ready to go back green. Should be seeing the pace car pull off this time.
There goes the pace car to the safety of pit road. It's got a lot of time, a buffer between that pace car dropping down and us actually coming into turn number 4, hitting the restart box where the green flag will come out. So it is a wide open world for Ricky Harden to restart this race. He goes late, but it is still a good jump, and he's got a car length advantage down to turn number 1. Wilkinson going to file out in P2, a little bit of a high entry into the corner, but the fun is behind for 3rd with the 3 car of Jacob Porter winning over the 90. There they go. Watkins going to squeeze Adams into the wall, and we've got problems in turn 3.
Yes, Jeremy Watkins in the outside wall, and he looks to have, I think, a blown engine after all that contact, and he got headbutt or a nose-to-nose hit by, looks like, I think that might be Jeremy Adams. Now that's in the outside wall. That'd be Jeff Ryan. Jeff Ryan came into that wreck late and absolutely clobbered him. So yeah, Jeff Ryan's gonna have that too.
And a tough break for Jeremy Watkins, Chris. We were just kind of thinking aloud at the start of this one with Jeff Ryan, who got sent to the back, and ironically enough, was our scheduled pole sitter, was involved in an accident. Thought that maybe this was going to be good for Jeremy Watkins. He moves up on the inside. He's our control car. He's our pole sitter, and he's out of the race by lap 7.
Yeah, just taking it behind the wall, you know. really unfortunate for that 24 machine, from bad to just about as worse as it could get, going to the back, and then seemingly was starting to work his way up to the field, but just nowhere to go with that wreck. So everybody's going to get stacked up, as everything's been a little bit hectic here on the first few opening laps. Evan, already lap 8, had about 2 cautions already, so crazy stuff going on here to start out the late model feature.
Definitely high attrition rate early on in this one. Jeff Ryan is out of this race. He was just involved in an accident and he has taken his car behind the wall. His night is done very early on. Robbie Bundin in the number 87 machine. Somebody else has been caught up in some of the incidents this evening. The nose on that car doesn't necessarily look like it is where it started. It looks a little bit skewed over to the left side of the car. He's 1 lap down in 14th. Other than that, everybody's been able to maintain lead lap status. Jeremy Watkins may drop a lap as he is stationary down on pit road, just trying to get that car fixed up as much as he can. But race leaders going to have an opportunity to choose which lane they want as the cone car's out. No changes. Harden wants the bottom. Wilkinson will take the top.
Yeah, taking the top, Wilkinson does. Then yeah, Gabe Wood gonna go to the top, so Gabe Wood making his way back up after taking a little bit of a spin early on here, or not really a spin, but a kind of a drift through the corners here early on. So nice to see him back up and where 4th would be. So pace car gonna pull off and we're gonna get ready to go green.
Still in the hands of Harden. Waited a long time to go green last time. It worked out for him, though, because he left all of that chaos, which turned into an accident behind him. See if 50 to mix his things up, or if he will stay with the method a little bit earlier this time. It'll be out in front, Ricky Harden, as he brings us back out of green flight conditions. 10 down, 50 to go. Wilkinson Harden to turn 1. Pushes up a little bit, but is able to defend P2. And it's going to be Porter this time under attack as Gabe Wood wants 3rd.
Yeah, Gabe Wood trying his best to get that 3rd position. Porter kind of slid up just a little bit going through 3 and 4, but nothing really going to change now as you see him get really close. Meanwhile, just behind them, look who's coming up through the field. We knew it would be interesting to see them come up through the field, Evan, but Matt Cucker, Christian Peterson making quick work getting up here, now stuck behind these 2 people still side by side for the 3rd position.
There's really nowhere for Cocker to go, really nowhere for Peterson to go. The top 2 with the points right there. And finally, Jacob Porter is going to clear Gabe Wood on the inside of the racetrack. And immediately jumping onto that is the number 69 Machida Cocker, who crosses him over, and it goes to the inside. So now we're side by side for 4th. And Gabe Wood kind of opened the inside up by trying to get around Porter. And instead of maybe gaining a spot, he ends up losing a spot overall and is dropping to P5.
Yeah, dropping back to P5, but now as Cucker was able to move by, he's going to have his sights set on Jacob Porter. This is exactly what Cucker needs to kind of just distance himself from his teammate Christian Peterson. Peterson not really making up too much ground on that 00 of Gabe Wood as they're really working. He's pretty much stalled out here, but I expect that to change, as it always does with that 23 machine. Meanwhile, just up in front of them, Matt Cucker already up to the back bumper of that 3 machine, and now Wilkinson and Harden are pretty much checking out from them as well.
And they've really started to stretch a little bit of a gap. It's still Harden 1, Wilkinson 2. They've got about 4 tenths back in the battle for 3rd. And here comes Matt Cucker again. Got to the inside of Gabe Wood. Got the pass in 1 lap. He's on the inside of the 3 of Jacob Porter. If he completes it at this end of the racetrack, he'll also get this spot in 1 lap as well. But Porter's got other things on his mind. He puts up a good fight, but it is just not going to be enough. And Matt Cocker, race high P3. He's +7 so far this evening, as Gabe Wood now looks for a rematch, trying to get around Porter for the 2nd time.
Yeah, he gets in a little bit of a bobble going through 1 and 2 there, and now Porter going to run it just a little bit high in 3 and 4. That's going to allow Gabe Wood to almost make contact with that 3 car. Almost had another accident right there coming on the front straightaway, but Wood doing everything. You see him on those rumble strips on that bottom line, just trying everything he can to try to get by the 3 machine. Maybe he has something. Maybe he can get up there and travel and try to beat Matt Cucker again. But meanwhile, now after getting on those rumble strips and making the car just a little bit upset, it looks like now he's going to have to try to hold off Peterson on the inside.
And it's been a rough go at it. You know, Gabe Wood's got a fast car, but might be a little bit unfair to compare him to the likes of the 23 of Peterson and the 69 of Matt Cocker, although Gabe Wood has held his own in this series with, you know, 4 top 10s and 2 top 5 finishes in the Blue Ridge Auto Parts late model stocks coming into this evening. Even somebody like a Tommy Rod right there as well. Somebody who's been able to find victory related once. He's trying to follow the 23 through again. A lot of fast guys did not have very good qualifying efforts in this one. The fact that it's a really long race kind of negated a lot of that disadvantage, but it's still there as Peterson clears Gabe Wood, and Wood looking very uncomfortable that time to 2. Now he's going to let Tommy Ryan get on by him.
Yeah, going to get Tommy Ryan on by, so Gabe Wood slowly falling back, but as you mentioned, really holding his own up here within the top 10, so definitely a good run for that 00 machine. Nothing really else going on because everybody else pretty much single filed out, spread out even through your top 5. Cucker trying to reel in that 26 of Wilkinson, who's pretty much fallen off of 4 tenths to that leader in that 15, Ricky Harden. How about Ricky Harden there, Evan? Really putting on a great show from being up front, right place, right time when Jeff Ryan got sent to the back, just really using the best of what he got and really commanding this field.
At that 6 machine now, Tommy Ryan just picked up the spot from Gabe Wood, but he made a mistake, and that is not going to be something that the 00 is going to let go unpunished. The 6 just pushed high at a turn 4, maybe just grazed the fence a little bit, but it was enough to take the momentum off of the Northern Tool and Equipment Chevy, and you can see once he kind of resets himself, he's right back up there, but the 00 Gabe Wood doing exactly what you would expect and hope for him to do, and that is if somebody's making a mistake in front of you, you jump on it, you take advantage of it, and you try to do something, and I'm not sure how long the fight's going to continue as Gabe Wood does win it for the time being. I thought Tommy Ryan might clear him with the advantage the last time by, but for the moment, Gabe Wood still in P6, back up there.
Yeah, but now look just behind Ryan, that battle, that short little battle, has allowed Will Dravicki to catch up there, Evan, to get up through the field and maybe challenge for more positions up in through the top 10. Great one. Run from Will. We saw talk to him just about last race over the Legends win, so now looking to continue the momentum and have a good run here in the late model feature, and he's doing just that, running in the 8th place position, so not a bad night for him. Meanwhile, up in the 2nd place position, while we're talking about that battle, Matt Cucker gonna make his way around Brandon Wilkinson and have his sights set on that 15 of Ricky Harden, just ready to cross lap 29.
And that'll be halfway home in a lap from now. Ricky Harden's gap is at a race high 7/10 of a second. He gets to this point now, and it is the longest race that we have seen, you know, and sometimes for the late models, and of course it'll be the longest race distance for the U-Cars later on. It is a 60-lap race, so why not take a look top to bottom at your iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing. The leading online racing simulation developed from the beginning is a centralized racing and competition service. iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the globe, but in the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is your one-stop shop for online racing with officially sanctioned series with the likes of NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Global Rallycross, and many more. At lap number 32 of 60, Ricky Harden is your race leader. The driver who started outside of the front row has led all the way from this point, and he has the 7/10 of a second advantage over Matt Cocker, who runs in 2nd position. Brandon Wilkinson is up in 3rd spot at the moment, with Jacob Porter 4th and Christian Peterson in P5.
Going back through 6th, that's going to be Gabe Wood. 7th goes to Tommy Ryan. Will Dravicki going to be 8th. 9th goes to Randy Yoakum, running up to top 10. Kyle Everall.
Outside of the top 10 and final driver on the lead lap is Rory Plum, who scored at 11th position. Robbie Bunden is 2 laps down in 12th. However, just as I say that car comes down pit road, I think his evening it may be done. Also out of this one, Jeremy Adams a couple of laps down in 13th position. Jeremy Watkins is on pit road. He's 14th and 25 laps down. And Jeff Ryan is the only driver who's officially taken that car up to the hauler. His night will end in 15th position. That's been a look at your iRacing Midway race break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, you can visit iRacing.com to sign up today. And thanks to our friends at Red Bull Global Rallycross, you can now visit iRacing.com/membership and use the promo code PR-GRC for an opportunity to start your iRacing career with a 3-month subscription for only $5. Again, that is promo code PR-GRC, and it is valid on new iRacing memberships only. More information at iRacing.com/membership. To close it in on the end of this one, it also closed it in, Chris, in a battle for the race lead. Matt Cocker has sliced it in half in just the 5 laps since I last checked into it. That interval, he's within a couple of car lengths for P1.
Yeah, Matt Cooker's really done a good job at really inching his way closer to this 15, and we're going to see that battle for the lead here in just a short few laps amount of time, barring any mistake by Matt Cooker. He's really been on a tear, started 10th all the way up to 2nd now, so a great drive by that 69 machine. Meanwhile, his teammate Christian Peterson back in the 12th, battling side by side, from 12th to 4th, battling side by side right now with Brandon Wilkinson, as now Wilkinson trying to hold that outside line and try to keep Christian Peterson from taking that position. Peterson going to get a little bit of a nudge of contact, and Peterson going to give it right back, going to clear Wilkinson this time maybe, and he does, coming out of turn 4.
So Wilkinson in the number 26 machine held on for quite some time, and out to the back bumper, the 23. If you remember from just, one race ago, these guys were going at it, and it was Christian Peterson who gave Brandon Wilkinson a hell of a shot to the back bumper. It was for the race win. A penalty took that win away from Christian Peterson, and now they find themselves in 3rd and 4th again. Even though Peterson's got a car length advantage, any small mistake and any second opportunity you give to Wilkinson, I'm sure, is one that Peterson would like to take back. So keep an eye on that. But they start to spread out a little bit. Looks like Peterson's got the better of him.
Peterson does look like he's going to get that edge on Wilkinson. Always going to have to keep an eye on those two. But meanwhile, keeping an eye also up on the front end, because now Matt Cucker all over the back end of Ricky Harden in that 15 machine. Look at Cucker trying to try that outside line, that second groove, seeing if he can get the run. Not going to quite work out in 3 and 4 there, but doesn't mean that he is not there. Any mistake by Ricky Harden is going to open up that door to let that 69 machine in, and look at him. He's just trying every lane he can right now to make a move on Ricky Harden, Evan.
He's doing everything he can, and he still has time, though. Cocker looking to the outside of the racetrack, this time by 17 laps to go. So, you know, Ricky Harden's definitely feeling the pressure as they run right now, maybe literally and figuratively, as the 69 was leaning on him just a little bit that time, and a caution flag is going to delay that battle. Issues with the 7. Kyle Everalt slows us down with 70 to go.
Yeah, Kyle Everalt looks like he's hard into the outside wall. Going to take a look and see what happens. Coming out of 4, it looks like it was just a lone spin. Evan just maybe got too tight, got up in the wall, and really went for a ride off that wall. And really hard hit from Kyle Everalt up in the outside wall. So unfortunate for that 7 machine, but wow, what a ride.
Yeah, you'd think he hit the wall at about 100 miles an hour. He was doing about 98, but I mean, he didn't plow the wall, but that car just launched, and one of the more violent looking accidents we've seen in some time. The 7 Everalt almost ends up on his roof. Caution flag is going to come out. Whatever is left of that race car is being shoveled into the trailer on pit road, because his night is done. And in all honesty, I'm not sure if this changes much between Harden and Cocker, but this yellow is big time news for Christian Peterson. He had just outlasted Wilkinson in a battle for 3rd, and to be fair, those two are probably going to line up side by side on row 2, and their saga may not yet be done. But if Peterson can at least just get a good enough restart to get in front of the 26, that 1.2 second deficit to the race leader is erased, and we could have a 3-way fight for the race lead with Harden, Cucker, and now Peterson in the mix as well.
Yeah, always going to have to keep an eye on that 23 machine because he's always been so good in these late models along with his teammate Matt Cucker. But Ricky Harden really putting on a great show, able to hold off Matt Cucker this long, as you saw Matt Cucker take that cone car option to the outside like I figured he would, because he was testing that outside there later on in that run there, Evans. So now going to have to watch him on the outside. Also going to have to watch Peterson and Wilkinson. I know race control is not too keen on retaliation, but you got to know Wilkinson's still upset after last race.
We will see if anything that comes from that. Drivers have doubled things up. They've selected their lanes, and we'll see if this is going to be it for this race. Pace car off and away. 47 down. Magic number 13 still to go on aboard. Green flag in the air for Ricky Harden. Clear to the line, and he's going to leave a side-by-side fight for second behind him. Peterson on the inside of Cocker. 1-2 of the championship. Fight for 2-3 on track.
Yeah, still side by side they go. Peterson, Cucker. Peterson gets a little bit tight through 3 and 4. Almost brushed it into Matt Cucker. So going to have to retreat back now. Going to have to hold off Brandon Wilkinson on that high side. Peterson still going to go pretty high in the corner. Going to run Wilkinson even a bit higher. Meanwhile, battle for your lead. Cucker going to be on the inside. Harden going to try to defend on the outside as they go through 3 and 4.
And Harden stuck up on the outside of the racetrack. It's a compromising position. I wasn't as concerned for the 15 when Cucker was top side before the yellow, but it's going to be hard to do a lot with the outside line now. The 15, he's going to keep stubborn. He'll pull about a half a car length even now to turn number 3, but Matt Cucker's got the ability to push you up on the inside. They're leaning on each other that time. 10 laps to go, and it was barely Harden at the line. Caution flag will fly. And we got an incident in the back with Rory Blum, but who's going to be scored in P1?
Multiple cars invested in that wreck. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we do know. Looks like it started with Will Dravicki here, Evan, as he kind of just slid through the 3 and 4 corners, tried to correct it, overcorrected into Rory Blum. So unfortunate for the 72 machine, nowhere to go. Looks to me like up front anyway, Ricky Harden gonna keep that lead.
Harden was definitely in front at the line. It was by 1/100th of a second. But my thought was maybe Cucker would have been scored in front just by virtue of having a nose in front. But I think in the interest of just keeping things even and whatnot, they just simply get to resort back to the standings as of the start-finish line. And we're going with that theory, then most definitely Ricky Harden is going to be the driver scored of the race lead, which is big for the 15 because I think he did have a good enough restart. It looked like Cucker was going to be fighting with Peterson and all looked well in the world, and all of a sudden the 69 ends up on the inside, and I think that the 15 at Harden was really in a difficult position. So this, you could argue, maybe a second opportunity at life for him.
Yeah, definitely a second opportunity with another restart within 5 laps to go here, it looks like. But a good thing for these drivers, 5 laps to go isn't really past the point of no return. We've seen red flags come out to get before just to get the race ending under green. So definitely might not be the last time we see these guys rack them and stack them, but definitely a second chance for Matt Cucker, and really another chance for Ricky Harden to get a leap on him and try to protect that inside line.
Lights back out on top of the pace car. Harden wants the inside. Again, I think that's the lane that you have to protect if you're going to find a way to get into victory lane in this one. The number 23 of Christian Peterson looks like he is going to drop a couple of spots. He's got the end of the longest line of penalty. He will be penalized for hitting, I believe, the cone car. So a tough break for Christian Peterson all of a sudden. Now we get to just see mano a mano once more with Ricky Harden on the inside and Matt Cucker on the outside. This time we'll have just 6 laps to go for Myrtle Beach. Is this going to be the final restart? Green flag back in the air.
Going down into turn 1, Harden getting a good jump. That EOL is really going to hurt Peterson in the point standings, though, Evan. Now, look at Cucker going to be on the back bumper as they single file out. Cucker going to waste 0 time, not even going to think about going on the inside line as he powers onto the outside. Harden going to push him up and in and scrapes the wall, does Matt Cucker. Now, Matt Cucker going to have to defend from Brandon Wilkinson, who gives him a shot going into 1 and 2.
And you can't blame Wilkinson there. The 69 was the one blocking him, and they get a little bit more into each other that time, but at turn 2, fantastic news for Hardin, and now more contact for third. It's Jacob Porter absolutely bullying the 69, and there goes Matt Cocker. A rough couple of laps. He'll get turned, and caution flag is out. He got hit by Chris, I think, just about everybody inside of the top 5. And a terrible turn of events for Matt Cocker's 69 car.
Yeah, he was pretty much the proverbial punching bag there, Evan, and it all came crumbling down coming out of 4 as Hardin, or not Hardin, it looks like Yoakum tracked out there just a little bit in that 4 machine, and just look him get plowed by Ryan, Wood, Peterson, all at the same time. The driver's side of that car just getting completely pummeled down the front end. Rough ending for Matt Cocker.
That car is just sitting there on the racetrack with thick black smoke coming out of it, not the way that Matt Cocker envisioned this would end. And you think of the turn of events, he was leading this race. 5 laps ago. Yellow flag came out, had the restart in second position, gets involved in an accident, and as we red flag things, so we have an opportunity to restart with, I think the objective is going to be to go for a green white checker with 2 laps to go. He doesn't anymore have a shot at the win.
Yeah, now it's just going to be down to Hardin holding off Wilkinson, and we'll see if Wilkinson's been putting anything back. We know he's had speed in these cars in weeks past. Does he have anything to try to challenge that 15 machine as they're red flagged here, trying to get everything set up? Just like I mentioned, they're going to try to finish this race under green, and I think they will, as you see the cone car zip by. Looks like we're going to get the yellow flag here to get everything started back up.
So the field is going to start rolling once more, and we are going to get maybe just one more opportunity at this thing. Again, the ability to use the manual caution flags lets us go for these very quick turnarounds, and you're going to have a restart due up this time by 2 laps to go. Everybody's selecting their lane, and this is still not over yet for Ricky Hardin. He's got to deal with the 26 of Wilkinson, the 3 of Jacob Porter, and of course, Will Dravicki outside of road 2 just took home a win in the Legends, and he'd be able to steal another one here in the late model stocks. This, I can tell you, will be the final shot at it as the pace car goes down and in, and Ricky Hardin wants to get as far away from the next front bumper as he can. Holds him back. A late restart goes green, but Wilkinson's right there at 2 to go.
And I feel like Hardin really needed a better start than that, because they're going to be side by side. Look at the run. Wilkinson's going to get off the corner, still going to be there side by side, going down the back straightaway. Wilkinson going to try everything he can, but look at Porter. He's creeping into the picture as well. Wilkinson firing back on the outside. White flag. 1 more lap to go.
And still side by side. Does Porter be a factor right there in 3rd position, or is it going to be decided between Hardin on the inside and Wilkinson on the outside? Expect a lot of sheet metal to be torn up as we head to the corner, and Porter's going to move them both out of the way. Jacob Porter from 3rd position is going to steal the late model win. What a move as we're wrecking behind across the line.
And Wilkinson gonna go hard. 2 wheels goes Wilkinson and Yoakum through the corners. You can definitely tell that Wilkinson is not gonna be happy. 2 times he's been moved out of the way here, but that's just the nature of short track racing. Is Jacob Porter gonna burn it down on the backstretch? This time, win for the 3 machine.
And the 3 went, gave a shot to the back of the 15 machine, and what that did is it just pushed Hardin up into the 26, and all of a sudden it was a wide open lane on the inside. Now Porter did lose some speed in that, and almost stealing it was Tommy Ryan, who came from 4th to 2nd in the final quarter there as well, but it's going to be Jacob Porter hanging on. Headed to victory lane here tonight from the Myrtle Beach Speedway. We'll get a lot of post-race reaction from this one, I'm sure, in just a moment. First, let's take a look top to bottom at your unofficial results, pending anything that gets passed to us from race control. First driver across the start-finish line is Jacob Porter by 1/10 of a second. Takes this one over top of Tommy Ryan, who ends up in 2nd. Ricky Hardin, who's 3rd, with Brandon Wilkinson 4th, and Randy Yoakum P5.
6 gonna go Christian Peterson. 7th to Gabe Wood. 8 Will Dravicki. 9 goes to Matt Cocker. Willie Blum goes to your top 10.
Continuing on through P11 in this one, Kyle Everalt, Robbie Bundon is 12th, Jeremy Watkins 13th, and Jeremy Adams is going to be 14th position. That is a complete look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. Let's go down tracks now and chat with the driver of the number 3 machine. It is Jacob Porter. He's got Blue Ridge Napa on board, and he is in Blue Ridge Napa Victory Lane tonight as your race winner in the late model stock division. Jacob, congratulations on the win. We saw a lot of guys rubbing and hitting each other all night long, and the way that everything worked out and the way that you were positioned on that final 2 lap to go restart, you simply got the final shot at him and executed it good enough to go 3rd to 1st to get the win. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you know, I tried to save a lot of tire through the race because, you know, we've been doing this enough that I've tried to learn, you know, how much I need to save to be there at the end. And being there in the 3rd position, going into 4, into 3, I was just like, do I take it or do I not? And I wanted to win so bad. It just like fell into place.
Obviously, over the course of this race, though, it was a lot more than just a story of that 2 lap to go restart. 60 laps is not all too uncharacteristic for these late models. It's obviously, though, on the longer end of the things that we typically tend to see. You guys started this one in 7th position, which is not a bad place to start, but was quite literally the middle of the pack, which is where you would expect all the chaos to be. So how did you keep that 3 machine in one piece to be able to get to the end?
You know, I really don't know, to be honest with you, Evan. I just tried to stay out of everyone's way the best I possibly can. I know I've kind of got the rap of being the one that's always caught up in a mess, but it just fell into place for me. I've got to say, there's nothing, but it just fell into place.
And sometimes you have nights like that, and this evening it ends up with the number 3 Chevrolet in Victory Lane in the late model stock division, which I know has to be cool because as the top division in this series, it's the one that everybody's got in for, and it's your first win in this division. So what's that mean for you as well?
You know, it means the world, Evan, and I really have got to thank Blue Ridge Auto Parts in Napa. Blue Ridge is my personal sponsor and the sponsor of the division as well, and it means the world to get a win for them because I know I'll go to work tomorrow and tell my boss, and he'll be so excited.
I can promise you that that 2 lap to go restart will make a good clip as well to get up on the Twitter and the Facebook and all the social media. So you do it in style. Race winner tonight, the late model stock shaker. We'll let you dart out of here. Before we do, the sponsors in the shout outs. Anybody else you haven't mentioned you want to say hi to?
Once again, I got to thank Blue Ridge Napa, Kyle for putting on the league, my grandparents for staying up with me all night long. This is just the greatest thing ever.
We had fun watching it, and we hope that you had as much fun being a part of it as we did taking the bird's eye view. We appreciate the time, but most certainly, Jacob, congratulations on the win. And I know we're running out of weeks in the championship here, but best of luck to you guys going forward. Hopefully, we'll have some opportunities to chat down the line.
Thank you, sir.
Race winner tonight in the Blue Ridge Napa Late Models division, Jacob Porter, first win this season in the Late Models, does it in fashion with a bump and run in turn 3 and 4 to get his first win of the season. With that being said, we step aside and might have to take an extra minute or 2 to clean up some of the racetrack, but when we come back, another 60 laps on the scoring pylon, and the U-Cars division is due up. You're not going to want to miss a moment of that. You're watching the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series at LSRTV and iRacing Live.
one of the best. You got him 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt. The World of Outlaws.
And back live at the Myrtle Beach Speedway as we enter the second half of tonight's action. It's week 16 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series presented by the Championship Esports Association, and we're happy that you're hanging with us at LSRTV at iRacing Live. Evan Pusoko on Scoop, Chris Murdoch, and Cisco Scarabus along with you, as we've already given out 3 trophies to 3 different drivers. Brandon Wilkinson opened things up with a win in the mini stocks, Will Dravicki in the Legends, and Jacob Porter, first win for him in late models, most recently leads us to the longest U-Cars race of the season, Chris. We're used to these things going at it for 5-6 wide action for 25 laps. Instead, that's going to be a little bit different tonight. 60 laps back at the board, a long time for these cars.
It is a long time, and you know, we've seen sparks fly this entire night here, Evan, and if we think about weeks past to just how crazy these drivers get driving these cars, I expect nothing less than some action-packed 3-wide racing, because they can really drive these cars around here and get physical. So I expect a whole lot of aggressive driving here.
And sometimes we forget when we watch this series on a weekly basis that there is point to the U-Cars division. It is the fun one. It typically closes out the night when the checkered flag flies here. Don't step away, because the mini stocks are going to be back for another 25-lap feature to round things out. But typically the U-Cars close things out, Chris. It is very lighthearted and fun, and it is a blast to drive them, despite the fact that I've only survived 5 laps, I think, total in them. But with that being said, the guys who are a little bit better at this include Gabe Wood. He is your championship leader coming into tonight. What is most impressive of that to me is he's got 1 less start than Ricky Harden, who is second in the points, 31 points behind him, and Tommy Ryan, who's third in the points, 58 points behind him. So Gabe Wood has been very consistent. He's got the most wins in this series. In fact, the only driver with multiple wins, tallying 3 so far. He's definitely going to be somebody to keep an eye on as well.
He is, and he's really proven himself in these cars. He can really get around, and he definitely knows how to drive them unlike we do. And you know, we were always talking about the brake lights on these cars and how they must help, and I think we learned, you know, that they really don't. They're pretty bright, and you can not see where you're going, and I think we were talking about that under the caution. So we'll have to see headlights and brake lights, and getting ready to grid them up.
Yeah, everybody is ready. Cars headed down trackside. Let's take a look at top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid. And, of course, everybody's going to be grouped up in sets of 3. Something else that makes this U-Cars division very interesting to watch is the fact that we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on the rows, but at least in the numerical positions on a pole is going to be the 30 Will Dravicki. Hunter Wright will start in second, and Joshua King is going to start P3.
4th is going to go to Rory Blum. Ricky Harden going to be 5th. Jacob Porter is going to be in that 6th position.
And back on row number 3, 7th spot, going to be the 26er Brandon Wilkinson. 8th position is going to be Jeremy Watkins. And outside of row 3, P9, is Kyle Everalt.
David Messi in that 56, going to start the new row on the inside. In 10th, Paul Henley is going to be 11th. Blake Neer going to be 12th.
And continuing on through as these guys get set to actually get out on track and get in those set of positions. 13th is going to be Robbie Bundon. Randy Yoakum's going to be the middle of that row, number 5 at 14th, and Tommy Ryan is 15th.
16th goes to the one of James Milbacher. Gabe Wood in the 00, talked about him. He's going to start all the way back in. 17th, Kyle Barnes going to round out the field, and 18th.
That's a complete look top to bottom at your LSRTV starting grid. You will then see everybody pull out on track, and race control will actually line them out in that 3x3 order. Top of your screen is going to be saying 61 laps total, because we use that 1 lap once the pace car does get down and out of our way to get everybody set up 3x3, since it's not technically a thing you can do on the iRacing service. So it'll be 60 laps of actual racing And these things are just so much fun. I am really curious, though, Chris, if these guys are going to take it any easier out of the gate because it's a longer race, or if it's just going to be that heart-pounding action that we typically see for 25 laps for, you know, a little bit more than twice as long.
Well, and then I think back to the 60-lap late model feature that we just got over and how much action we saw in that one. Double the action that we see in here, and I just don't see it being possible here, Evan, as you see him starting to slow up and start to try to get that lining up here at Myrtle Beach. I just see them throwing everything they've got into this race like they normally do, maybe even more, just to try to get up the front and take points, because, you know, points was such a big thing, especially for Gabe Wood all the way back in 17th. Definitely going to have a lot of work to do here tonight.
Here is where they pull to a stop at a front straightaway, and you will see them line up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 with Dravicki, Wright, and King on the front rows. So it's a lot more difficult to kind of gauge where you would be if you're, you know, typically fourth position. It's not the best place to be outside of row 2, but here you're going to be inside of row 2 in the 3 wide. So the places you don't want to be, 3rd, 6th, 9th, 12th, and 15th, and 18th, because that puts you outside. And the way that these cars work, Chris, with everybody going to be redlining, once you get them up to speed for the entirety of this race, it's kind of hard to work on that longer way around the racetrack.
Yeah, it's definitely an unconventional start here, definitely an unconventional car to put on here. This 3-wide start really reminds me of something to the effects of the World of Outlaws, maybe like a 3-wide salute type deal. But like you mentioned, fourth, not really where you want to start here in the regular sense, but being on that inside line definitely proposes the challenge. I think where you absolutely do not want to be is going to be in that middle line where we see Wright, Harden, and a whole bunch of other people in that middle line. So definitely going to be an interesting start here as they finish getting them lined up. I feel like we're going to be pulling off here any second.
Everybody looks like they have found themselves in the correct order, and cars should be rolling off momentarily as the final driver putting outside of the racetrack pulls in line. So the green flag is going to officially come out this next time by the start finish on, in which we will start our 60-lap U-Car feature. Again, race winners in these so far this year. Gabe Wood's got 3 of them. Ricky Harden, Jody Green, Brandon Wilkinson, all with 1 trip to victory lane apiece. We shall see if somebody else is able to add their name to that, or if maybe Gabe Wood can figure something out all the way from the back. 17th position. The pace car has stayed down in the safety of the pit lane, and the field is going to be in the hands of that 30-wheel Dravicki inside of the 3-wide front row as we get set to go racing. It is the longest U-Cars race of the season, and we are green.
Yeah, still 3 wide, 2 rows deep going here. Now I think they're going to figure themselves out. Going to be 3 wide for third as Harden going to almost brush up in there to the 35 of Joshua King. Meanwhile, Dravicki out to a good lead, but look at Hunter Wright there going down on the inside lane. Not going to quite get there to the 30 machine as Dravicki out to a great start here to lead lap 1.
He's stretched about 4 or 5 car lengths. You can see everybody flashing their lights at each other from second on back. The only series, in addition to the mini stocks, where we can see the brakes if they put them on at all, get it into the corner, and let you kind of figure out what the guy in front of you is doing. Most of these guys, though, barely getting onto the brakes for maybe more than half a second at a time. But it is going to be Hunter Wright completing the opening lap of this race in the number 2 position. And you've also got Joshua King there in third, and we're 3 wide for third position with the 15 out of 26.
And as Dravicki trying to get back here, Hunter Wright still in second. Meanwhile, side by side, looks like Leveralt and maybe not Watkins gonna go at it here, but Leveralt and Porter gonna go side by side from the corner. Just a little bit hard to see that number there on that machine. Now Porter gonna get by Leveralt and make his way through the 35 of Joshua King. Leveralt tries to go 3 wide, but not quite gonna get it this time, going into 3 and 4.
So it is Dravicki 1. You've got Wright in the number 2 position. Third is Rory Blum. Fourth now is Brandon Wilkinson. Fifth is Ricky Harden. And a fight for 6th is where all of the excitement is. The 7 of Kyle Leveralt is there. He's got Porter. He's got Gabe Wood. Gabe Wood has already made his way halfway to the front in about 5-6 laps of this race instead of, maybe waiting the whole 60. So it might not be an impossible task for the 00.
Yeah, he's really made some quick work getting up there. Now going to be on the inside of Jacob Porter, going to try to jump in, but oh, and you can hear that car get a little bit upset under it as a caution's going to be out. Maybe 14 of Blake Neer.
I think it's going to be the 35 and the 6 as well, maybe a second incident, but it's a hard hit for Joshua King. 35 was tucked up on the inside of James Milbachler and got punted off, and that pit road wall again is just so close. That's by far the first time we've seen that happen, and he gets into the inside wall, bounces right back up in front of traffic, and there was nowhere for Tommy Ryan to go, who got tagged in the left rear quarter panel and backed it into the outside wall. So a two-car accident slows us down early for Myrtle Beach.
And look at the back end of that 35 machine. It looks like it got hit by a freight train, Evans. The 35 still out there for the time being, but definitely some heavy back end damage on that car. Meanwhile, gonna red flag it, try to get everybody lined up in that 3-wide start and get this race back under green.
And again, because we do run the manual caution flags, we have the opportunity to stop everybody. And to be honest, we kind of have to stop everybody and go into those red flag conditions if you're going to realistically line guys up 3 by 3 by 3, which is the case that we're doing. So it's going to be Dravicki 1, Wright 2, and Wilkinson 3. Row 2 is going to be Blum, Harden, and Leveralt. And looks like Gabe Wood, just to note, is up to 7th with Milbachler, Yoakum, and Barnes to round out the top 10. And we'll get a good look at everybody in their respective positions as they park it on the front straightaway. And just taking a look at, you know, the running order and the positions that everybody is in, I cannot guarantee that the running position being scored up at the top of the screen is correct. I know that there is an issue with the scoring at the moment, but Race Control is doing it the old-fashioned way, and they're counting laps on the fingers. They're writing them down and making a tally on a notepad. I don't know what it is, but Race Control is keeping track of laps, so we will do our best to, if the numbers aren't showing correctly, to let you know who is running in what position and what battle you're watching is for what position. But we are working our way through this race. Race Control's doing it in manual mode for the rest of this one.
Yeah, definitely getting Race Control in our ear, kind of chuckling, saying we got 55 laps to go here. So that's just a little bit of a tidbit of how many laps we have gone through. It looks to be like they're going to be going green this time by.
We are going to go back green this time by. Going to be 55 laps to go for the Myrtle Beach Speedway in this U-Cars Division main event. The 30 car of Dravicki going to be in control once again. Look for the guys at the inside of the racetrack to be in the best position. Green flag back in the air. Not a bad start for the 26 topside. It's going to be a battle for the race lead. Dravicki's not going to go uncontested. He's got a Wilkinson right there in the fight for the race lead. In turn 2, but we got a spinner. It's Gabe Wood, I think, and a double O is around. No caution, all by himself. We are still green.
And it was one of those cases where we saw the 00 get just a little bit too comfortable with those rumble strips in 1 and 2 and just upset the car, send them around. Maybe Kyle Barnes got a little bit in that as well because he was slow off the corner. Meanwhile, up front, Wilkinson, Dravicki still going as Dravicki shuts the door. Wilkinson going to waste 0 time, changing up the lanes and going on the inside as now he looks towards the inside, just trying to get anything he can on Dravicki. But right now, going to have to fall back in line and try to line them up once again, going through 1 and 2.
And obviously these restarts give these guys opportunities. We got another driver sideways. It's Rory Blum, the 72, in the same spot that Gabe Wood had problems, is down on that old pit road on the back straightaway all by himself. Again, no yellow will stay green, but these guys struggling not only in the group but also by themselves getting these cars around into one piece.
Yeah, trying to get everybody and just really struggling in 1 and 2, and it's really with those rumble strips of them. They think they can run them and just getting that car so bent out of shape. And right now, Wilkinson, meanwhile, while we were focused on that, maybe had an issue, maybe a hiccup of some sorts, as now he's going to fall all the way back to 3rd, give that 2nd place position to the 07 of Hunter Wright. Meanwhile, just behind them, everybody else seems to be a little bit single filed out right now, as now Wilkinson going to try to get back to the back bumper of Wright, maybe try to reclaim that 2nd position, and he does look towards the inside.
Taking a look at the inside of the racetrack, and right over drives it into the outside wall. And just like that, you give him an inch, and then he'll take a mile. And Wilkinson is going to move into the number 2 position as we're through 10 with 50 laps to go. Still on the board from the Myrtle Beach Speedway behind Tim. So now, right now, going to be 3rd. Kyle Everalt in that 7 machine is 4th. And James Milbachler is 5th. All these drivers pretty tight. Looks like about just a second separates all of them. And really, it's a 4-car line, 2nd through 5th. Really tight. Feel like that this is far from over, as now the 07 wants to spot back to the inside, but the rumble strips to slow him down.
Yeah, Wilkinson having great awareness of what can really slow these cars down and really not giving Wright any room on that bottom side. You almost see him run him in to the inside wall. So Wright definitely going to have some work to do on that 07 machine, as now he's going to look towards the inside in 1 and 2 once again. Wilkinson going to be a lot higher than he's going to like. Going to leave the door wide open for Hunter Wright to try to take advantage as they go side by side, as Will Dravicki's kind of creeping away due to all this side by side battle. Will Wright clear Wilkinson out of 4? He does. Almost gets into the wall once again, so going to leave Wilkinson a door to go on the inside of 1.
And all of this is really helping out your race leader, Will Dravicki. He has checked out. I said that the top 5 are within a second of each other. Well, if we keep going side by side for a second, we'll still have a good fight for 2, 3, 4, 5 on the scoring pylon, but not for the top spot, as Wilkinson pushes the 07 up and out of the way. And all of a sudden, Hunter Wright going to go from 2nd to 5th in a blink of an eye, and it's the 7 Leveralt now looking for P2.
Yeah, Leveralt going to be trying to get P2, and most likely does not. Wilkinson keeps his ground on the outside, keeping nose there, but looking at 3 and 4, the 7 of Leveralt really going to clear him, going to pull up in front of the 26, going to box that 26 in, because that 1 of Milbachler going to be on the inside, is now just behind them. The 07 of Wright gets into the outside wall, so Wright still there, though that little bit of a contact didn't slow him down too much. Now Wilkinson looks try to go low, but he just can't because of that 1 machine there on the inside line. So now maybe Leveralt gonna have some time to pull away here.
But I feel like even that 7 Leveralt, you know, in P2, if those bright yellow machines keep fighting again, it could be just like the scenario we saw with Dravicki. You fight for 1 position. No one's telling you to roll over and not fight the guy for it, but you're only helping out the guys in front of you if you're getting, you know, aggressive and running into each other. And I don't count that 07 machine out either. And a lot of contact that time at 4 between Hunter Wright and Brandon Wilkinson. I think the 07's got a bone to pick, and he's going to try to work his way back up through the field here. Gets 1 back. He's back up to 4th position. Going to be a long way if he wants to get all the way back up. But, you know, the 07 machine got ushered out of the way, and right now, trying to get back up to where he feels he should be. That's about P2, and I think that car's good enough to be there.
Yeah, definitely deserves to be there because he's still kind of on there. As now look at Wright drive it down in on Milbachler, going in through 1 and 2, but can't really get it to stick. Gonna have to back out and retry going into 3 and 4, but Milbachler gonna think better of it and kind of shut the door before Wright can even get up to him. So now Milbachler gonna try to get his sights set on the 7 of Leveralt, and he's really kind of catching him just inch by inch. Never mind, gets a little bit too tight going into the corner, and contact between the 07 of Wright and Milbachler. As I was just talking about how good James was looking going through those first few corners. Now contact with the 07 and the inside wall, going to send Wright really high up the racetrack.
40 laps to go for Myrtle Beach as we're 1/3 of the way through, and if you know you've seen the issues with Wright getting a little bit tight off of the corner, I can promise you the longer we go into this race, handling's not going to get any easier. This is about the point that we're telling you 5 laps to go and making a run down to the end of this thing. Not the case in this ultra long U-Cars feature. And again, Wright struggling with the exit at turn number 4. Going to leave him susceptible to attack by Wilkinson, who looks to the inside now but can't quite get all the way there.
Yeah, but he's going to try and force the issue coming out of 2. Wright going to still try and close the door, blocking some contact, slight contact made going into 3 and 4. Wright going to get way out of the groove coming through 3 and 4. Going to open up the door for the 26 of Wilkinson to try and make up some time there. Speaking of tires, with how big of a gap Will Dravicki is, how do you think those tires are going to play in? As now Wright going to try to look down to the inside of Wilkinson once again, and this battle is heating up pretty quickly here between Wilkinson and Wright.
And again, they fight with each other, but they lose touch of the guys in front of them. Dravicki is still out in front, your race leader. Kyle Everalt is second, with James Milbachler in third. And then the fight between Wright and Wilkinson for fourth and fifth position. The 07 completes the pass, slides up on him. Wilkinson does as you would expect, and that is go right back at him. Cross over to the inside, and side by side for fourth once more. Assuming the 07 can hang on, though, as he pulls a car length that time into turn 4. Then you'll find David Messier in sixth position, and a side-by-side fight for seventh between Randy Yoakum in the 4 and the 16, and it's a physical battle for seventh. A lot of contact between Henley in the 4, and the 16 wants payback.
Yeah, and look at Watkins in that 90. That's definitely going to open up the door for him to maybe become a part of this battle, as there was a whole lot of contact between Yoakum and Paul Henley there, so that's going to leave Watkins to kind of sit and wait right back there as things have kind of settled out between those three. Meanwhile, with up front action, not really too much going on except for the same side-by-side battle between Wright and Wilkinson. That's been going on for the last few laps here, Evan. Really still side-by-side, and nobody can, neither of them can shake either driver. As you can see now, Wright trying to work the outside line. It's like they just switch lines and keep on going the same way. So somebody's going to have to give here soon.
The 90 machine also in the mix as well. Jeremy Watkins, Kyle Barnes, Gabe Wood, and Ricky Harnan basically round everybody else out through the top 10. And impressed with the amount of separation. It is a little bit more of a conventional race, as you know, Wilkinson and Wright want to keep fighting, and that kind of reminds me of the mini stock race we had earlier, where they just had a group of cars who just refused to leave each other alone. But we didn't really see, aside from obviously when we go green 3x3, Chris, we didn't really see an outrageous amount of 3 and 4 wide, and a little bit of a smaller car count as well, with the big numbers put up for this race, and a quick yellow that kind of checked things up as well. But this U-Cars race kind of racing like a normal race, dare I say.
Yeah, and I think that's really you know, answered some of the questions that we had at the top of the broadcast, or at the top of the session even, as how these cars would handle. What type of race would it be? Would it be action packed, or would it be kind of slow and calm? And right now I think we're seeing the latter of that issue, as it's been kind of slow and calm. We've seen a fair bit of contact here and there between two drivers, but nothing too major, as Wright and 26 the Wright and the 26 of Wilkinson still side by side past halfway.
And past the halfway point, again, competition caution rule is going to say that we're going to get a caution flag here in 5 laps. If there is no incident on the racetrack that would otherwise bring out the caution flag. And the only thing I could think of is maybe you got issues with the 07 and the 26, but there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of hostility between these two in the fight between Wright and Wilkinson, unlike back in the pack, Paul Henley and David Messier taking some shots at each other. I think Wright and Wilkinson have been doing a good job of fighting side by side for so long and keeping it as clean as you could expect. And just as I say that, the 26 uses the bumper a little bit to get that preferred lane back.
Yeah, definitely leaning on the back end of that 07 machine just to try to get anything he can here. Meanwhile, looks like they're catching some lap traffic, and that's going to be the 35 of Joshua King there, who's had some issues early. So maybe look at the 07 to use the 35 of the pick, or vice versa, because that 35 really hasn't chosen a line to stay in. So we'll have to see how it goes. Wilkinson going to look below, so it doesn't look like that lap traffic is going to really affect the battle, even, and maybe even help Wilkinson try to stay clear of Wright.
And the 35 getting into the the mix as well, and these guys are doing a good job of separating themselves, moments away from that competition caution flag to come out for Will Dravicki out in front of the field right now. I know that it's something that he's probably not looking forward to, but Kyle Everalt had actually been closing it into recent laps, as now the caution flag does come out at lap 35 of 60.
So the competition yellow will slow everything back down, which is really good for the likes of Leveralt and people back throughout the rest of the field. Leveralt was doing pretty much a good job at slowly catching up to that 30 machine, but this yellow will really bring everybody back together. Going to see more of that 3 wide restart, maybe shake things up a little bit, as we are past that halfway point of it.
Get past the halfway point and kind of counting our way down to the end of this one, and as everybody is simply just going to find themselves in the correct position, again, because we don't have active timing in this race. Let's let you know where everybody sits. And again, the good visuals on the front straightaway. Will Dravicki is your race leader at the moment. Second place is the 7 of Kyle Everalt, and third is the 1 of James Milbachler. Behind them, then the 26 of Brandon Wilkinson is going to be scored in fourth. The 07 machine of Hunter Wright is fifth, and the 58 machine of David Messier is in P6. He's the bright orange number 58 car. And then you take a look back to row 3. The number 99 machine is scored in 7th. That is Kyle Barnes, the black car with the yellow numbers. Gabe Wood, hard to miss him. The pink 00 car is in the middle there, scored in position of 8. The 9th spot is the 16 car of Paul Henley. So that's at least a recap of your top 10. We get set to roll back off to the quarter again, and I'm sure that running order is going to get shuffled up again, because whenever we go 3x3, Chris, and this could very well, by the way, be the final restart if we get another good, green flag stretch like we just saw, but I'm sure something's going to shake up here.
I can almost expect it, because, drivers like Wilkinson and Wright, who were going side by side for so long, now back up in the thick of things. So definitely could see a bit of a shakeup, maybe even a big shakeup as they get ready to go back green.
Green flag is going to be on the air this time by. We'll see what the 30 Will Dravicki decides to do, and just how clean are these guys going to be. We talk about a 60-lap race. Hey, inside of 25 laps to go, we're right back just like it would be any other week with the U-Car division. The 7 of Kyle Everalt does not get going, and he's got big problems going backwards.
Yeah, big problems going backwards. Not really going to help that driver out. As now they're 3 wide. That's going to be the 00 of Wood, the 58 of Messier, and the 07 of Wright going side by side. Now things are going to settle out. As now Barnes going to make his way up, and they're getting in full contact. Huge spin. Going to go on the front straightaway. Going to send Wood around. More drivers pile up in turn 1.
And it all started with, Gabe Wood, who didn't get really the worst of it. He just kind of did a little bit of a 360 spin and got back out on track. The problem was racetrack was then blocked, and got the 97, it looks, or the 07, sorry, the 58 with damage, the 90 car, the 4, the 7, about half a dozen cars involved in that one down into turn number 1, and I didn't really get to thoroughly, make the point, Chris, but what I was talking about on the restart there is, it doesn't matter that the total distance in this race is 60 laps. We're now talking about restarts with 25 and 20 laps to go and so on and so forth. So you would expect these things to just be like they would be at this point on, like any other week. And, well, sometimes when you're starting folks 3 wide, well, you get accidents.
Yeah, accidents you do get, Evan, and we were talking about maybe the possibility of a shakeup, and I think that big pileup going into turn 1 there is about as big of a shakeup as you probably could have got on that restart. Is everybody was pretty much toss and turn from about 10th on back, so huge wreck. Going to line them up 3x3 once again. Will Dravicki still your leader though.
You can see no changes to those guys on the front row. It can be difficult at times to separate those 2 highlighter yellow cars from one another. The 1 of James Milbachler is in the middle, and then it's the 26 machine on the outside of Brandon Wilkinson. One's got the peak stickers and one does not. That's about the best advice I can offer. And you got a bunch of black cars back on row 2, the 99 car on the inside, the 15 of Hardin in the middle, and of course the 4 of Yoakum on the outside of the racetrack. So guys going to get set to roll once more. They're going to come to the green flag the next time by, and Will Dravicki's just hoping that these all of a sudden, first off, the competition yellow, but cautions breed cautions, and I think the subsequent yellows that have come from that, he's hoping these don't take it away from him, because he was in a pretty comfy spot about 5 laps ago.
Yeah, he was in a pretty comfy spot, and he doesn't want any of these cautions to really hinder his progress up. So he really needed to get a good start here, as now they're rolling off through 3 and 4, and really hope that everybody behind him kind of gets in that 2-wide battle once again, and he can just walk away.
Field's going to be in the hands of Dravicki. Feel like a broken record saying it, but he started up front, and he has not looked back since then. He's looking to get another good restart with 21 laps to go for the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Good restart, but not spectacular. He's got the 1 and the 26 right on him, but he is clear into turn 1.
Oh, contact made between Milbachler and Dravicki. How about Harden in that 15 machine? Really, the seas really parted for him on that inside line. Now going to be side by side. The first battle for this lead that we've seen in quite some time. Evan is now Harden. Maybe has a second life here as we take 20 laps to go. Now look at Milbachler going to try to go down the inside, but Harden going to say,
oh,
no,
the one's going to push him all the way there, and it's going to take the 30 out. Caution flag is out. Will Dravicki was topside, and the one just did not want to get off the 15 of Ricky Harden, and Milbachler just pushed him all the way into the corner and all the way into Will Dravicki.
And I think that's just the price to pay when you block like Harden was doing, going that hard down into turn one. Milbachler did not like it, and what were we saying right before this restart? Will Dravicki needed a good restart to get back out to his comfy spot. Well, he just found himself right in the door frame of Ricky Harden's 15 machine.
That is short track racing politics, if you will. Somebody throws a block on you, okay, well, they'll shove you off into the corner. It's, you know, these guys policing themselves, per se, and you could tell that the one machine never got on the brakes. There's no plausible deniability, because I was talking earlier about how we actually get to see the brake lights, and you know, I don't have any problem if those guys want to fight it out amongst themselves, Chris, but you got to feel bad for Will Dravicki. I feel like I jinxed him there, saying that he's hoping that these late race yellows don't mess him up, and really it was picture perfect up until that point, and there was nothing I think he could have done to get out of the way. He was up on the outside. He gave those guys plenty of room, and he went all the way up to the fence and found him.
He did, and it was very unfortunate for that driver to go all the way from first down to the pit road, but on quite the opposite side of the spectrum here, Evan, we've got two drivers who are going all the way, maybe even three drivers on your front row that's pretty much gone through all the way from the back of the pack all the way up towards the front. That's going to be Kyle Barnes and that black and yellow 99 on the bottom there. Brandy Yoakum going to be in the middle, and then Gabe Wood right there on the top side on the front row.
So we roll once more, and it's obviously going to be with the noticeable absence of Will Dravicki on the front row. How about the 99 car of Kyle Barnes in a good position? See if he can maybe steal this one in the ladder going as we complete lap number 42 of 60, and we take 17 laps to go from Myrtle Beach. Another restart as we see how many laps you can get under green flag racing late in the U-Cars division race. We are still going to be 3 wide, but it's not for first, it's for second, and it's great news for Barnes, who tries to pull away.
And Barnes is pulling away quite a bit. Got out to a great lead over Gabe Wood and Yoakum, who are doing side-by-side battle for that second place right now. Yoakum going to slide up the track just a bit. Going to get cleared and have to fall back in line behind the 00 of Gabe Wood. Meanwhile, back Harden trying to work his way back up through the field. Going to be right behind Leverall, who's going to be side-by-side with the 72 of Blum. Now he's going to try to clear and make a little bit of slight contact going into 3 just to make sure he can complete that pass. Meanwhile, up at the front, Kyle Barnes is really getting reeled in by that 00 who has 3 wins here in this U-Car division.
Also should note as we close in on laps that we are closing in on the time limit with 5 minutes left to go. So if we get a yellow, that probably means that this one's going to end based on time, not on laps. Battle for the race lead, though, is on, and maybe the clock ticking's going to add a little bit more pressure to Gabe Wood. Gabe Wood made a big charge early in this race after starting 17th, got into the top 10, Chris, and then quieted down a little bit. A late race charge to the front. He's trying to find win number 4. He leads all active drivers with 3 at the moment, and he might get to the lead. The 99 knows what to make it easy, though. Barnes' top side is still there, but it will be the 00 at the start and finish line.
Yeah, and you got to think those drivers really got the same information we had in our ear with that 5-minute timer, because look at Barnes sitting the shove. Huge shot to the back bumper of the 00 of Gabe Wood, but it didn't really affect that car. Like I mentioned at the top of the race, you can really be aggressive in these things and really send them for a shove and not get too much out of it. Barnes going to get the run out of turn 4. They're going to look to the inside. Gabe Wood thinking about blocking, thought better of it as they go off into 1.
The 99 crosses him up. Watch for Gabe Wood to set him up at a crossover. I think he wanted to go for it. The 99 saw that, stayed low, but unfortunately that car is going to drift up the hill, and Gabe Wood's going to be able to find his way back to the inside of the racetrack, so we are side by side again, racing down the laps, racing down the clock in our 60-lap U-Cars Division main event. The 99 machine of Kyle Barnes still searching. He comes into this one for what would be a first win in this U-Cars Division. Race winners this year: Jody Green, Brandon Wilkinson, Ricky Harden, and 3-time Gabe Wood, who's looking to become 4-time. And the 99s on the left rear quarter panel getting a little bit less impatient with one another. Big hit that time at 10 to go.
Yeah, 10 laps to go. And speaking of that 15 of Ricky Hart, and he's ever so creeping into this picture here, Evan, just behind these two that are battling and throwing everything they've got at this lead. They know laps are winding down. They know the clock is against them. So now Harden gonna look towards the inside, but Barnes gonna say no and block that inside line. And now Harden's gonna have to think of a new strategy. Gonna go up to where that 00 of Gabe Wood is, still side by side for the lead. Harden has nowhere to go.
And the 15 machine, got blocked with the 99. We saw how the reaction, I guess, earlier from Milbachler was on getting blocked by Harden. That time, Harden on the receiving end of the block. Maybe forced to be a little bit more forgiving to that one. But this is great news for Gabe Wood, because, again, if you're fighting for second, you're not fighting the race leader. And Gabe Wood is stretching around to 4 car lengths of an advantage this time, and it's only going to get further and further out unless somebody decides to make a move for P2 and gets it over with.
And we've seen how long side-by-side battles can last here, Evan, as laps wind down. Now Kyle Barnes gonna try to make the move work, gonna move up just a tad bit in 1 and 2, trying to get that run. Look behind them, Kyle Leveralt itching to make a move, but not gonna think a 3 wide, gonna sit right behind that 99 machine on the inside line. And I think Gabe Woods all but walked away with this thing.
He's off into the sunset. The fight for second is still going to be fun to watch, but you want to talk about finding a little bit extra. What matters the most, and Gabe Wood is just putting it to him late. Meanwhile, Kyle Barnes has sole occupation to second. 5 laps to go this time by. The 7 wanting to get into the mix with Leveralt. The 15 to Harden, trying to make it 3 wide, and here we go. Not wanting to give an inch for P2. We'll go 3 wide to turn 1.
Still 3 wide, turn 1, and they're gonna run out of room on the inside. Harden just about made a sandwich there. Is now Milbachler is gonna make it 3 wide for third as Leveralt gets clear for second. So battling still, and they just keep running out of room. Is now Harden's gonna get turned by Milbachler. Once again, those drivers make contact and spin that 15 around, and just unfortunate for Ricky Harden.
The yellow flag is going to come out, and I think Harden pushed up a little bit too high into the 99, came down, and Milbachler was not going to go out of his way to jam on the brakes, although again the 15 is the one that came down across his nose, so a tough break for Harden, who goes for a loop, and that may just give us one final restart. Have to see if it's going to fit with inside of the time constraints. If it does, we've got to get 3 by 3 in a hurry. Gabe Wood hoping that we don't make it that way, but it looks like we might just do it.
Yeah, and everybody but Gabe Wood is hoping to get this race started up as fast as they can, and definitely not what Gabe Wood wants. He had all but walked away from this field, and it didn't look like anybody was going to be able to touch that 00 machine, but now he's got 2 cars on the outside that think otherwise. Leveralt was able to get clear for second. Barnes going to be all the way up on the outside line to start that front row.
And it is going to be a green-white checker finish, so the next time by, we will take the green flag. That'll be 2 laps to go. Last time we saw a 2 lap to go restart. Tonight we had a couple of guys, I'm not going to say wrecking each other, but definitely giving each other the chrome horn for the win in the final quarter. So Gabe Wood is not liking the scenario he's in.
Yeah, definitely not liking the scenario he's in. This is basically, I guess, second to worst case scenario. Worst case scenario would be that Gabe Wood was the cause of the caution, but definitely not wanting this. One more shot at it. If a caution comes out, that's going to be it. So expect these drivers to throw everything at it.
Here we go, final time, 2 laps to go with the clock ticking down. Who gets the U-Cars division win for week 16 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series? It's a big start in the middle for Kyle Leveralt, but Gabe Wood still with the nose on the inside. It's going to make it side by side for the race lead.
Side by side, but a short-lived battle as Gabe Wood, is going to get cleared there from Kyle Leveralt. 3 wide for third again, as Milbacher going to be on the inside, and now Barnes going to go hard up in the outside wall. Wood going to be able to move out.
Oh, there's a car in front of him.
Oh boy.
He had to check up, and here comes Leveralt. It was all Gabe Wood. He got on the brakes. Does the 7 go to the bumper? Final time in 3 and 4, and it is not going to be enough to make a difference. A good charge, but the checkered flag is going to come out this time, and it is Gabe Wood getting the win. There were no yellows on that last lap, and there was a car facing the wrong way down in turn number 1, and Gabe Wood had to take evasive action, and that almost cost him this race. Somehow, he'll be your race winner.
Yeah, that was the heck of a driving by Gabe Wood to definitely unusual for Blum to be sitting there, but nonetheless, Wood was able to make it work, come home with his 4th win here tonight.
Yeah, 4th win in the U-Cars division. It continues to add on to what was a series best already coming into tonight. He is your race winner when this is all said and done, and we will take a look at your results in this one. So Gabe Wood takes the checkered flag when it's all said and done, with Kyle Leveralt coming home in 2nd position. James Milbachler ends up 3rd. It looks like it is going to be Paul Henley in 4th position, and Randy Yoakum rounding out your top 5. Kyle Barnes is going to be P6, Will Trevicki 7th, Jeremy Watkins 8th. Looks like from those on, I can't tell you because they all wrecked at the end. Maybe David Messier followed, but no, David Messier is not going to finish it. Ricky Harden will limp home in the 8th position, and then it'll be Messier 9. And that looks like that'll be it for drivers that finish this one on the lead lap. So I think that anytime we put the U-Cars on tracks, we have to say a little bit of an uncharacteristic outing, but especially in the way that this would have went down with that 2-lap to go restart. What a way for this one to end up, but despite the fact that it was such an unconventional go at it, Chris, we end up with a very familiar result with Gabe Wood beating us up in a victory lane.
Yeah, it just goes to show that no matter what you throw at Gabe Wood in these cars, he can always figure out a way to win them. Don't even count out him in these races, because 17th to 1st, and to even overcome that incident coming into turns 1 and 2 was definitely a feat that I didn't think I would see here tonight. But like you mentioned, an unconventional race is always going to provide somewhat of an unconventional finish.
And when it was all said and done, well, Gabe Wood got his 4th win on the year. And we're trackside with the driver of the number 00 machine. Gabe Wood is your U-Cars division winner for week 16. Gabe, congratulations. We kind of entered the season thinking of this as the wild card race and, you know, give somebody an opportunity to get the win. But you're kind of stealing all these things now with your 4th one tonight.
Yeah, I kind of hate it. I told Austin because, you know, you see everybody running the bottom, but you don't see anybody, you know, running up over those bumps. And you guys made fun of me for it the last time we raced here, but it's just so much faster, you know. And the way that I drive these cars, I don't know. I just kind of got it figured out. Cucker, he had it figured out too during qualifying, and unfortunately, I didn't see him get to race. So, unfortunately, you know, we could have had a good race up there. But yeah, I kind of feel bad. I'm kind of sticking up the show.
Well, this one was pretty difficult for you because you had to start way back in 17th position, and then you got a lot of those spots pretty quickly, but we went on that long green flag run, which eventually led to the competition caution, and it almost looked like you guys kind of stalled out mid-pack. You got inside of the top 10, but you guys were struggling to get over that hump. Obviously, that yellow flag helped you guys out because once we grouped everybody back up, all of a sudden, the 00 was once again the fastest car on track.
Yeah, me and Barnes made the same mistake at the same time. There, I was working my way up through the pack, and you know, I ended up running up over the rumble strips, and it ended up sending me sideways. So it was a tough fight. You know, the caution didn't come out, and I was lucky that we had the caution there with like 30 or 25 laps to go, somewhere around there. I was really lucky to get that one because, you know, I would have never made it back up there. I knew I had a faster car than the leaders because I saw I was still pulling away from Dravicki, but I just love racing these cars, man. It's so tight, especially there at the end with that green-white checker.
Obviously, when we got that yellow, and, if we're restarting with 25 laps, the fact that it was a 60-lap race at the beginning doesn't really matter. But because it was such a long race, did you notice anybody driving any more conservative, or was it just as chaotic out there as any other week?
Well, I didn't get a chance to see it, because I was in the back for 30 laps just trying to
I thought you were going to say because it was all in the rearview mirror. Okay.
No, it was out the front windshield.
At the end, maybe.
It was out the front windshield. I was actually, like I said, really lucky to get that caution. I really didn't get a chance to see how some of the guys, because I saw we had a couple of new guys like Hunter Wright in the car, but in the U-Car division, he said he's going to be back, so that would be one guy. He was really fast. I actually got hit by him, taken out. So got taken out by the rookie, but he apologized and it was all in good fun. I think I wrecked about 4 times this race. That's got to be a new record.
Well, at the end of the day, you also set a new record in most U-Cars wins because you upped the ante to your 4th on the season and continue to lead the points in these things as we get down to the end of the year. So that's all good news for you, but it's all said and done. And unlike typically, U-Cars are not ending up the evening for us. We've still got many stocks to get to, so we'll let you get out of here and we'll get our cameras focused on that before we do. Gabe, as always, the sponsors and a shout out to makes it happen.
Just, thanks to you guys at LSRTV, all the UNOH guys, if they're watching out there. Drill Spill guys, thank them. It brought me on this year. Still don't know what I'm doing for this year, kind of up in the air about that, but still, the Drill Spill guys have given me a good home for the better part of last year and this year.
Well, congratulations once more, and for your sake, I guess, we hope that the success continues in the U-Cars division going forward. Either way, it's always a fun one to check out. We can't wait till they're on the calendar again, but we appreciate the time, Gabe. Congratulations on win number 4, and best of luck in locking up the championship here.
Thank you, guys.
That is your race winner in the U-Cars, Gabe Wood, with the win again, his 4th on the year. He continues to lead the championship with just a couple of weeks left. But we are not done. Typically, we would say goodnight, but we have one more division still to come as the mini stocks head back on track and Brandon Wilkinson looks to defend his back-to-back win in which he got at the start of the evening with another win here tonight. So we will step aside one final time, and when we come back, the mini stocks are on track as we close out week 16 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. You watch it all at LSRTV and iRacing Live.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
And welcome back live to the Myrtle Beach Speedway as the night grows old. One more still to go on week 16 of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, and we've had 4 different races, 4 different divisions. That streak will be broken as we get a double feature and mini stocks due up next for 25 laps. But as we welcome you back into the LSRTV booth with Evan Pasoko, Austin Coop, and Chris Murdoch. Coop, the question is our streak of different winners going to be broken? Because we've had 4 different winners tonight: Wilkinson, Dravicki, Porter, and Wood, with a chance to go 5 for 5 if somebody new wins this one.
Yeah, and I think for this race in particular, we've seen just about everything tonight, and a lot of things that happened that we weren't expecting, but it made I think the racing a lot of fun in the end throughout the U-Car race, the late models, yeah, and even a first-time winner there as well. And I think the show and the way that this night has been kind of going towards, yeah, I think we are definitely in an entry to having maybe even a brand new winner. Just that's kind of the way it's been picturing out, and I think I'd be glad to see another new winner tonight, and a 5th winner I'd say is likely, although the statistics prove that we're going to have one of these guys maybe get a repeat.
Well, the way that all these double features work as well, which would be fun to watch, is you've got the invert. Looks like it'd be a top 7 invert, which means that you've got guys who will finish 7th and 6th and so on and so forth in the first mini stock race starting up at the front for this one. So as we go trackside, this is the way qualified works. Again, starting to positions determined by the finishing order in the first of these 2 races from earlier on in the evening. So Randy Yoko will start from pole for this 25-lap feature, and he will be joined on the front row by the number 9 machine of Jeremy Watkins. Then back on row number 2, third spot going to be Ricky Harden. P4 will go to Gabe Wood, and David Messier will be in 5th.
6th place will go to Matthew Tucker. Then you've got Brandon Wilkinson starting 7th, and Joshua King will relay out the 8-car field we'll have tonight.
It looks like everybody but King going to be caught up in the invert, Chris, and Brandon Wilkinson trying to win this one from 8th, or rather from 7th. He just received a throughput fall to an unacceptable level. So, I don't know if this is technically going to count as a start for him. I don't think it should, but he came into this 2 for 2. He had not started a race in the mini stocks and not won it. Not technically going to start this one unless he's able to get back in here. So we will not have a repeat mini stock winner, but we might have a repeat winner after Vicky, Porter, or Wood get something done. But now the door's wide open because arguably the faster car from earlier tonight had problems and isn't going to make the grid.
Yeah, still has a clean record in my eyes, though. Haven't taken the green flag, not going to be able to start it. So Brandon Wilkinson going to be out of this one, but all eyes going to be on Randy Yoakum as the pace car ducks off here.
In the best position out of anybody, can he use the track position and get himself a win in the mini stock division? The field is in the hands Mr. Randy Yoakum up at the front of the field as we take the green flag and get off and away. Not a fantastic start, but it's good enough to clear the Donnie Watkins. He'll be hotly contested, though, by the 50 to Ricky Harden, championship leader in this division, to turn 1.
They are absolutely playing bumper cars with everybody. I mean, no one in the front row got started the way everyone else behind them wanted to, and you can see the 15's going to have a big issue. He actually is able to hold on to it. Something's really awry with these guys, so he gets way out of shape. 3 wide on the outside, and I think race control saying it's not a Pontiac, you can't drive it like it was. So maybe these guys are trying to get back used to driving the mod forward, as they call it.
Well, and, you know, this is going to be a big race for Ricky Harden because Tommy Ryan's not here, who came into tonight only 14 points behind him in the championship. Didn't start this second one. Has almost big issues with the 50 to David Messier into the outside wall. You've got Harden diving, you know, dodging bullets left and right, getting around all the landmines. Almost got taken out twice. He is standing to gain a lot in the championship picture, just getting a finish in this one. Meanwhile, battle for the race lead is on. Here comes Gabe Wood on the inside of Yoakum, and side by side they go.
Side by side for the lead, as Wood not going to really flirt with the rumble strips as we saw him do in the last race with the U car. But speaking of that, I guess this race goes to show what happens when you put a U car race in front of a mini stock, because these guys are having a hard time really adjusting all over the place, tight, loose, all over the spectrum. Here is now Gabe Wood going to jump out to a decent lead over Randy Yoakum, as they're going to be side by side for a third. That's going to be Harden and Tucker. Is almost contact going off into 3.
They had got each other's door there a bit. It didn't phase the 15 as much as I would have expected. And in fact, Harden really got a good run out of that end of the racetrack, led in that battle for third at the start-finish line. You can see the 43 using those rumble strips, the curbs on the inside of the racetrack to help that car rotate. And now issues with the 4 and Randy Yoakum. Big issue in turn 3. Caution flag is out. And I don't know what happened, but lost a lot of speed in front of the pack.
And another broken axle. I think that's number 4 or 5. Oh gosh, Joshua just decided to end it all right there, I guess. But that's probably going to be the end of the night for all of these guys. But wow, my gosh, there's something in the air tonight for these guys. But they just stopped. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Is that they just, when they hit the wall, all of them just almost immediately stopped.
And I think it was just really, you know, the 4 of Yoakum just getting sideways and lifted to save it. And unfortunately, well, if you lift in front of cars that are going full speed into the corner, it doesn't typically end well. And, you know, Tucker got into the back of him, and he bounces up and brings Joshua King for a ride. And they all get pretty good hits into the outside wall. But just such a strange incident for Yoakum, who was doing a very good job. In fact, again, started on pole, led a lot of this race. Sure, he was under fire by Gabe Wood, but was most certainly holding his own, and what was probably just a minor mistake happened at the most inopportune time, and the blink of an eye, you're out of the race.
Exactly right, and that just goes to show how quickly things can change here in Myrtle Beach. And speaking of quick, cone car out, one more lap to go at the line before we take the green flag, as Gabe Wood will take that inside line, moving Ricky Harden up to the outside. How about that 58 of David Messier? Saw him get up into the wall, just a little bit fall back, but now going to be up in the third after that huge wreck.
Just looking at 58 of David Messier, row 2, as you just said. Watkins 4th, Tucker 5th, and well, that's about it. The cars that are left in one apiece at the moment. A green flag is going to go back in the air. Gabe Wood brings us back to it, trying to find victory lane in the mini stock, something he has been unable to do to this point this year. Ricky Harden, your championship leader's only done it once, and he's right there in second as well, as we'll go side by side for the race lead. Harden deciding the outside's the place to mount the charge.
And I'll tell you what, Harden really wants this one, because he's had wind stripped away from him in the late models earlier. He got banged around in the last race, so you know he really wants this one. But at the same time, Gabe Wood has not won in this series. I said that might be a first-time winner, it might be a repeat for the night. Well, both those could be true if Gabe Wood wins it, but I don't think Ricky Harden's going to play nice in this race. He wants to win it more than I think anyone in this field, just because of his experience tonight. And I will say that definitely, I give him all to it, because he has kind of been the ragdoll, been beaten around all day long.
We've seen a couple of guys who have had a rough night, just kind of getting bounced around with total disregard, and it is a short track, you got to expect it, but sometimes it feels like everybody's picking on you, and it's even been some of the veterans tonight, not just like the rookies are getting moved out of the way. We have seen veteran names, veteran drivers going at one another, which I think means that there's no immunity on Gabe Wood and Ricky Harden joining that group and getting a little bit frisky up front as well. You got less than half a race to go now, with 12 to go this time by, and Harden still right there. I think has no reason to force the issue. Maybe force that double into a mistake, as he sits right there on the bumper, follows him through the corner.
Yeah, just kind of maybe waiting for a mistake from Gabe Wood. As I say, that bump drafting, so to speak, down the back straightaway, all over the back end of that 00 of Gabe Wood off into 3, but doesn't seem to affect the entry of Gabe too much. Now look at the run that Harden gets off. Gabe Wood went to block the bottom, but Ricky Harden says, I'm going to take the top, and it's going to bite Ricky Harden in the back, because he's going to lose a lot of time. But now look at the run he gets all over the back bumper of the 00 down in the 3.
And all of this is going on in front of David Messier, who made an impressive move on for the restart to be able to defend third. He's still there. Watkins is fourth, Tucker's fifth, and that's about it. The driver still being scored on the lead lap in this one. Harden still there. Looks high, looks low again, though. I think probably could have a dive to the inside that time, but wants to stay on the bumper. Gabe would continue to try to push the 00 maybe into an uncomfortable position. And the one thing we have to keep in mind, Cooper, it goes all the way back to the beginning of the night when we saw, I guess, what ended up being, you know, a victory not for, but what was the first across the line for Christian Peterson. What a race by giving quite the shot to the back end of Brandon Wilkinson. Strategically hit him in 3 and 4 instead of 1 and 2 in the last lap because he didn't want to give that driver an opportunity to retaliate. Maybe that's part of the mentality here for Harden as he goes side by side, is if you move Wood out of the way now, he's got 7 laps to get back at you. That's not very smart, so maybe that's part of what the 15's thinking.
Well, I'll also tell you that Ricky Harden has a lot more experience of getting in your head as well. Him versus Gabe, they were actually chatting on the open radio together, and it was actually quite comical to listen to Gabe trying to have some comic relief, knowing that Ricky's had a bad night. But this might be it right here. Ricky got the pass clean and done, but Gabe's not done either. He's not going to try and repay the favor by getting on his back bumper. So Gabe might try the same thing he was doing. Get behind him, keep bumping him. I think Ricky might be a tad bit better though whenever it comes to raw speed on the track, but Gabe won't give up. Well, I know that. So now the roles have reversed and Ricky's back in first, and he said if he wants to win a race, he wants to be in second. So Gabe trying to do something, still being a little comedic on the radio, but definitely these two are going right at it.
And a little bit of a bobble maybe that time by Harden. He did get the #1 position, but a little bit tight off of the turn. Opens up the door for Gabe Wood, who goes right back to his inside and takes the lead back just like that. And, you know, all of this fun you might expect brings David Messier into the picture. We'll go 3-1 around lap traffic, no issue. David Messier is closing in a bit. I still think 0.8 of a second out, though not immediately a part of this fight now inside of 4 to go.
Yeah, inside 4 to go. This race has really flown by with all this side-by-side action for the lead here. Evan really can't take our eyes off of it because, you know, as soon as we do, we might miss something. Is Harden going to bobble just a little bit on that second groove side-by-side? Gabe Wood holding his own, just like Coop said there, not giving up, not going to back down, and even going to give him a shot to the door going into turn 1.
These guys getting physical, and Gabe Wood's got the distance, but it doesn't have the speed. I think it's on. Here comes the 15. A shot directly to the back bumper. Hit him square. Just really letting him know that he's there. 2 laps to go now for Myrtle Beach. How does this one end? Looks high, and Gabe Wood shuts the door on him.
Gabe Wood's having a whole bunch of fun out there, but I think Ricky Harden really wants to win this one. He's not going to have much longer to do. He's only going to have 1.5 laps to do it, so he's got to really do something here. He's going to try and get momentum coming out of 4, and this will probably be his last-ditch effort. He's going to the bottom of the track, Gabe Wood on the top. They're going to go side by side. I think Ricky's where he wants him.
Final lap at a 15s on the inside of the racetrack. Is that going to be the preferred position? He pushes high, rubs Gabe Wood up a little bit, forces him up the racetrack, just like we've seen so many races tonight. This one's going to go down to the final quarter. Harden on the inside, needs the runoff. He's going to get it. They're going to beat and bang at the line of photo finish. It is Gabe Wood by 6/1000ths of a second, your mini stock winner.
Such a close finish there, Evan. Props to Gabe Wood. I really thought Ricky Harden was going to be able to get the run out of 4 and get the win, but Gabe Wood held his own, didn't give up on the outside line, no less, bumping and banging to the line, and that's one of the closest finishes we've seen here in the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series.
And another great result in these mini stocks races. I think both of them tonight, stellar races, but I think Ricky Harden felt like, and I think he did, have the faster car there and was just trying to set Gabe Wood up, and got to give props to the 00 for getting the run off of the quarter. And I think the 15 initiating that contact actually hurt him coming to the line.
Well, I mean, I was looking at it, and after he made contact, Ricky started turning down the track, which, I mean, is actually slower than going straight, so I'm not sure if he thought that was going to be faster, but I feel like if he was still going straight, he had the momentum better than Gabe did, and if he kept going straight, he would have been faster and would have got it, but perhaps he was thinking that turning down the track would be it, but, I mean, I guess I can look at a couple different times and see that Gabe was probably going to win it even if he did go straight, but I thought he'd have a better chance at it, so nonetheless, Gabe gets it, and he gets to do a burnout and sit in victory lane, and first time he's going to be doing it, not in a U-car.
And he breaks the streak of individual winners tonight. We'll get a word with him in a moment. First, let's wrap it up. Take a look top to bottom at your LSRTV full race results. Gabe Wood gets the win by just 6/1000ths of a second. I think one of the closest finishes we've had in quite some time here with the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. David Messier is third. I guess can't forget about Ricky Harden, who was right there in P2, but Messier is behind him in third. Jeremy Watkins ends up as a final car on the lead lap in fourth, and then Matthew Tucker rounds out our top five.
And then rounding out the two final positions would be Randy Yoakum and Joshua King. Remember, we had that big wreck that had a lot of them, and basically if you were Matthew Tucker, Randy Yoakum, Joshua King, you were in it. So the rest of the guys, that's how they finished.
So that's a look at your mini stock results, and already down trackside with the driver of the 00 once more. A different car, same result. Gabe Wood's second win on the evening. He takes the most wins out of anybody for week 16 of this Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. Gabe, congratulations again. This one plenty different, though, from that U-Cars one. You had Ricky Harden all over your bumper, plastered on that deck lid for the final 15-10 laps, and at the end of it all, He got the position I think that he wanted, and, well, you just beat him on the outside of the racetrack. He got the bottom, but it was not meant to be, and you guys rough and tough it across the line and get this win first for you guys in this division.
Yeah, given Ricky's track record tonight of getting taken out of the lead by the second place driver, I think he said in the chat earlier that he was getting ready to return the favor, and I told him, I was like, Ricky, I've always been nice to you. I've always given you all the room in the world. I was trying to sweeten the deal for me, but me and Ricky had a lot of fun. That was, he was definitely faster than me. When he was behind me, he was able to kind of ride behind, and he was just beating the back bumper off the car. Oh, that was so much fun. And having Barnes and Porter in my ear, and Cisco, the producer, was also there telling me, just let him go. Let him go. That was so much fun.
And we kind of were thinking aloud the same thing, that, he's just kind of sitting there and waiting, and as you mentioned, had a little bit of bad luck over the course of the night, so didn't want to make himself vulnerable, I think was the biggest thing we took away. So as you're sitting there and relatively aware of what he's doing, are you trying to, scheme something up, or was the objective to just hope that, he makes that move a little bit too late? What was the game plan there, knowing that you kind of knew what was going on with him?
The game plan was, okay, when it comes down to the final 5 laps, if he hits me, which way is this car going to spin so I can get it pointed in the right direction and finish second? That's all that was going through my mind. I knew Ricky was going to try and put the move on me, but it turns out it didn't work. So that was one of the best clean races I've ever had for a win. Not only in this series, but in iRacing. That was so much fun. What was the gap on the finish? 6/1000. So yeah, that's my closest ever win, I think. That was so much fun. But I had no game plan. I wasn't even fast in these cars. I just kind of lucked into it, I guess.
And I can't confirm without, looking through a bunch of notes, but it might be one of, if not the closest finish we've had here as well on a Wednesday evening. These mini stocks, I don't know what it was. I mean, we see good racing out of them every single week, but tonight especially, that first race was fantastic. The second one was as well, and I know that you guys haven't maybe found the results in these mini stocks you would like to be fair, limited starts for you guys. You've never finished outside of the top 10, so a win obviously keeps that streak alive. But what is it about these cars that are in no way supposed to race at a racetrack like this? What lets them be so fun?
Well, I mean, you could have that same conversation about the U-Car. It should not work. I mean, there's people in the chat, these aren't mini stocks, but it's as close as we're going to get. And, it's just, I think it's just the bald, or not the bald, but the skinny street stock tires and, just the rear-wheel drive. I don't know. It's something about these cars, and the way you can kind of throw them around, you can get different lines out of them. Like Ricky and I were swapping back and forth. and you can't get good momentum. You know, if you kill it coming off the corner, there's no way you're going to make up the momentum. You can't, you know, kind of run a little bit harder coming out because you're scrubbing speed off by turning more. So, you know, that's what was happening to me. I was trying to push to get away from Ricky, and he was catching me up on the exit of the corners every time. And as soon as he got past me, he started doing the same thing, and I was able to get back side by side with him.
And just take a look through the notes here as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is as well the first week in which you guys have gotten 2 wins, which means that this is the first time you guys, it's not an official statistic, but it's, you know, something we kind of like to look at. You win the night, you get the most wins, so, you know, you get the most out of the evening out of anybody. So no, that's got to feel pretty good as well for you.
Well, I think it feels good just to win something other than UCAR. I've kind of been...
I mean, I haven't even won a UCAR, so I'll give you that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you ran a UCAR, so we could say that.
3 laps of it.
Cisco beat you.
That's the worst part.
But I love these, you know, these fixed divisions to where everybody has the same, and it's a wacky car. It's just like the UCAR. Nobody races them except for here. You know, you never see, you know, a Mazda MX-5 on an oval. You know, and so guys, when they get in, and they just kind of have to start from scratch every time, and sometimes you hit it, sometimes you don't. I didn't hit it. You know, I did not have the speed I needed to, but somehow I lucked into a win.
Well, we will make sure to put it up on a board, and you've got one, so there's no reason you guys can't get a couple more of these as the season goes on. Obviously, we'll be watching you with the U-Cars to fight for the championship, but I think you guys might be able to pull something out in a different division or two, so we'll definitely have a lot of fun in these last couple of weeks, but this is the final one on the afternoon, or I guess the evening, definitely. It's almost tomorrow for the folks on the East Coast, so we'll wrap this one up, Gabe, but as always, down in Victory Lane, the sponsors and the shout-outs, who makes it happen for you?
Everybody at LSRTV, all of my fellow co-workers except Austin Coop. Nobody likes him, but I love Austin. Chris Murdoch, I hear that. Chris, Evan, you know, Cisco, everybody at LSRTV and Race Spot. Don't forget the guys who hate oval racing. You know, all the guys at UNOH. I gotta go to class in the morning, so I should probably go to bed. But I'm kind of on a little bit of a high right now, so after getting 2 wins. So, you know, everybody. It's a good thing nobody's watching, but you know, it's always fun being in these races. I look forward every Wednesday. That's, you know, I clear my schedule. I don't even work on a Wednesday just to be ready for this series. Like I enjoy it so much.
Well, it's always fun for us when we've got guys hitting each other to a 6/1000th of a second margin. So for your sake, congratulations that you guys end up in a victory lane tonight. Not once, but twice. And hopefully you guys are able to find some more success as the season rolls on. But we appreciate your time getting on track and putting on a show for us, Gabe. We also appreciate the time post-race. Congratulations again on both wins, and best of luck next week.
Thank you, guys.
That is your race winner tonight for the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Gabe Wood breaks the streak, wins the final 2, gets a U-Cars division win, and his first mini-stock win on the year. Not going to put him in a position to fight for much of the championship. I think it's only his 4th start, but top 10 in all of them, and great to see the result for the Gabe Wood camp, Chris, who ended out the night very much on a high note for Week 16.
Yeah, I ended out on a great note. 2 back-to-back wins to end the night, and that U-Car and then mini stock feature. Definitely a great way to cap off Week 16. Definitely fun racing as the season is starting to drizzle on down here throughout the end of it.
Yeah, we're going to get right back into the swing of things, Coop, again in 1 week's time, but for what feels like something that didn't start all long ago, we've now done 16 weeks of the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, and there's just a handful still to go. Plenty of championships to be decided, and the road to crowning a champion in all of these divisions will continue next Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's just like you said, not too many weeks left. I mean, we've got till February 28th. There's a couple of I think there's a double points night that'll be happening next week, and then there's gonna be only one more late model points race, I think. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and the festivities don't really end. And so we're gonna have some pretty special events when it gets towards the very end, and that we might actually be seeing some really close battles for some points positions. But I think one or two more races, and we might see our champions already crowned. It's just getting that much closer to the end of this thing.
And I think just taking a look over the schedule, there's only one series, maybe two, in which we will see 3 times more in these final 5 weeks. So for a lot of these series, we're getting down to the final 1 or 2, and you're not going to want to miss the run to the championships here on Wednesday night. And the good news is, as always, you never have to wait until next week, I guess I should say, for our respective series is to return. Yes, the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series will be back next Wednesday here on LSRTV and iRacing Live, but we've got plenty of stuff coming up between now and then. Tomorrow, the Upstate Racing League is back in action as they go a little bit of chase racing with coverage beginning at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. And then it's our first doubleheader Friday of the year. It is going to be the Super Speedway IROC Series at 8 and the Super Speedway Cup Series at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. That doubleheader right here on LSRTV. Then, of course, on Saturday, the Outlaw Modified Series, followed by the United States Race to the VNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series, with all of that action on the weekend getting kicked off at 9 o'clock on the East Coast. You can find a full look at our upcoming broadcast schedule by going to our website at www.livesimracing.com. But of course, by following us on social media is the best way to make sure you don't miss a thing. On Twitter, that's at LSRTV. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/LSRTV official. And on YouTube, it's the subscribe button right here at youtube.com/LSRTV. Until next time, on behalf of the entire team at Live Sim Racing LLC, for Laura Lawson, everybody who makes it happen behind the scenes, up on top of the booth, night in and night out, and, well, of course, for your team tonight, having a good time on a Wednesday night. For myself, Evan Pasoko, Austin Coop, Chris Murdoch, and our producer, Cisco Scaramuza, want to thank you for hanging out with us and congratulate all your race winners for Week 16. Brandon Wilkinson in the Mini Stocks, Will Dravicki in the Legends, Jacob Porter in the Late Models, and Gabe Wood in the U-Cars and the Mini Stocks. The Myrtle Beach Simulation Series returns next Wednesday. That race and every race of this Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, presented by the Championship Esports Association, can be found right here on your home for sim racing. Until next time, good night.